It's time for Brewster Whitecaps baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. And we welcome you inside Eldridge Park on this gorgeous evening here on Cape Cod. A couple of days of rain and chilly weather have given way to just a perfect night for some baseball. As tonight, the Whitecaps look to bounce back from a tough defeat and go up against the division-leading Orleans Firebirds. It's Brewster and Orleans here from Eldridge Park in Orleans, Massachusetts. I'm Carter Woodeel alongside Aiden Doyle. And Aiden, you were talking to Jamie Shevchik after last night's game. It really seemed like this is a bounce-back day for Brewster after a tough way to lose a ball game yesterday.
Yeah, last night was one of those games that he was worried was going to haunt the team for the rest of the season. It's one of those games that really sticks out when you look at the box score, especially because considering how thin on pitching this team is, to go to a guy who, yes, he made 10 starts for Indiana this season for obviously his school, but was yet to really make an official start for the Whitecaps this season. Paulie Milto, you can't say enough about what he did last night for the Brewster Whitecaps. 7 innings, just 1 hit allowed, didn't walk anybody, struck out 4, faced the minimum. And this is a guy who Coach Shevchik said before the game, they were just hoping for him to give them a chance to win the game. If he could give them 5 innings, that would be great. Anything after that is a bonus. So he must feel like he probably won the lottery last night when Milto was coming off the mound after 7 innings. But again, the bullpen wasn't able to hold it. And yes, people look at, okay, the bullpen gave up 2 runs, but offensively, that was a horrible game last night for the Brewster Whitecaps. Just 3 hits. They had 14 strikeouts. Coach Shevchik said you're not going to be winning any games with 14 strikeouts. Yeah,
they had 3 hits, and they still managed to leave a total of 10 runners on base. They wound up drawing 10 walks in that ball game and getting those runners on. But as you said, Aiden, had a real difficult time driving those runners in, getting the big hit. And I think that's what Jamie Shevchik is looking for out of his lineup tonight. Let's get you set on that Brewster Whitecaps lineup. They'll be taking the field in just a little bit. A.J. Graffinino will lead things off, and he will be playing his customary shortstop. Chandler Taylor is batting second and out in right field. Mickey Gasper will be behind the plate for Brewster, hitting third. Michael Curry is back in the lineup at the DH. He will be hitting cleanup for Brewster. Nick Dunn is at second, batting fifth. Kyle Datris, the third baseman, hits sixth. The 7th hitter is Hunter Bishop, back out in center field for Brewster. Julian Infante, the first baseman, will hit in the 8th spot. And Marty Costas, the left fielder, will be batting in the 9 position. A big day, not just for the Brewster Whitecaps, but for the whole Cape Cod League. The All-Stars were announced earlier today, and they weren't without a certain degree of controversy. Let's send it over to Maura for more.
Thanks, guys. Well, Jamie Shevchik was telling me that... Thanks, guys. Well, today, Jamie Shevchik was telling me that there was a meeting between all the coaches.
All right, well, we'll see if we can get Maura up and running, perhaps after the national anthem here. In any case, we'll get you set on exactly the way the All-Star team is shaking out. Let's send it down to Maura one more time here.
Thanks, guys. Well, I was having my customary talk with Jamie Shevchik before the game, and he told me that it's going to be Michael Curry, Robert Broom, and Mickey Gasper as the All-Stars for Brewster. He's told me that he had a conversation with them, said congrats, but he is pretty upset that today's leadoff hitter, A.J. Graffinino, did not get in. He said he thinks Graffinino has overproduced for this team. He's been a leader on this team, and he really deserved it. So he had a conversation with Graffinino and said, look, use this as motivation for the rest of the season. And his coach really fought for him in that meeting, just wasn't able to come out with that. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you so much, Maura. Glad to hear from you. Yeah, it is tough. The numbers right now on this season for Graffinino are 305 at batting average, 356 on base percentage, no home runs, 7 runs driven in, and even though the error total might be a bit high at first glance, right now he's got 5 on the season, which is the most on this Whitecaps team, tied with Connor Smith. You have to think, Aiden, that that's a stat where the error is being a little bit limited in the picture that it's painting.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the guys who lead the major leagues in errors every year, a lot of them are shortstops. I mean, that's where the most balls are hit to in the infield. If you look at the overall sample size, A.J. Graffinino is about as good a defensive shortstop as you're going to find in the Cape League or really in any league. He is excellent. We talk so much about his quick hands. It seems almost like we're overkilling it, but you can't say enough. He's very good at shortstop. He provides that solidifying position there for Brewster up the middle of the infield, gets the balls that a lot of guys can't get to. And so, yes, you're going to get that on the defensive side, but to be batting over 300 as well with 5 stolen bases, he does more than just his glove. I mean, he is a complete player. The only thing he's really lacking is power, but when you're batting up over 300 out of the leadoff spot, stealing bases and playing great defense, I think that makes up for the lack of power.
All right, the national anthem is about to get underway here at Eldridge Park, so we'll step aside real quick here on the Whitecaps Radio Network. When we come back, we'll get you set on the lineup that Orleans is trotting out and take a look a little bit more deeply into the pitching matchup today. It's Ryan Avedano for Brewster and Chandler Day for the Firebirds. We'll tell you a little bit more about them on the other side of this break. You're listening to the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network. All right, we welcome you back to Eldridge Park in Orleans, getting you set for Whitecaps and Firebirds today. Let's get the lineup for Orleans, tell you who they'll be trotting out from manager Kelly Nicholson. Jimmy Herron will be leading things off. He'll be playing center field. Lars Newbar will be over at first base, hitting in the second position. Nico Decolati is in right field, hitting third. Romy Gonzalez will clean up and play shortstop. Ethan Paul, the second baseman, will bat in the 5-hole. Jax Groshans, the third baseman, will be hitting sixth. Brandon Riley is in the 7th spot. He'll be patrolling left field for the Firebirds tonight. Steve Passatempo is the DH, hitting 8th. And rounding out the order for Orleans is Austin Hale. He will be behind the plate doing the catching. And the pitching matchup for this ball game, as I mentioned before we were going to break, Ryan Avadano is out there for Brewster, and he'll be up against Chandler Day, the righty out of Vanderbilt, whom the Firebirds will be trotting out. What do you see in this pitching matchup, Aiden?
Well, they're very similar, except for obviously the fact that one's right-handed, one's left-handed, in that they're both got a lot of upside to them. Day is a kid out of Vanderbilt who I think if you look at what scouts would like in a pitcher's frame, pitcher's body, he's that type of guy. 6'5", a little under 200 pounds, sits comfortably in the low to mid-90s with that fastball. Pretty good breaking ball as well. What he's really trying to work on is developing that third pitch. He's made a few starts for Vanderbilt in his career for the Commodores, but primarily out of the bullpen. But he's a guy who has an incredible amount of potential. I've seen some mock drafts for next year's MLB draft with Chandler Day going in the middle of the first round. So he's got that type of potential, that type of stuff. It's just a matter of developing more and learning how to quote-unquote pitch.
Already been drafted once. It was by the 30th round and by the Indians out of high school, but was a perfect game All-American in high school, and as you said, Aiden, a lot of folks have a lot of expectations for him. And here comes Graffinino, the pitch to the Brewster leadoff hitter, just misses outside, and that will start things off tonight. AJ Graffinino digging in from the left side against the righty Chandler Day. And we count 1 ball and no strikes. Here comes the pitch. Misses down and in. No, it's called for a strike. Excuse me, called for the strike by Robert Aquino behind home plate. He's joined by Ronaldo Cockrum at first base, and Tom Carey is at third. Here comes the 1-1 delivery. It's hit high in the air into left field. It's going to tail foul and head over by the folks sitting out on the hill over there. And so the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Graffinino. As Maura mentioned, if you're just joining us before the ball game began, Graffinino's the one guy that Jamie Shevchik really had pegged to make that all-star team that was announced today. But he was not on that list that came out just earlier this morning. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. It's hit on the ground softly right side. Moving over to field is the first baseman Newbar, and he flips over to a covering Chandler Day for out number 1. So Graffinino with some soft contact. Sounded like that got the thinner part of the baseball bat. That's out number 1.
And speaking of, Graffinino's kind of, to be honest, I'd call it a snub as far as an all-star selection. I think he is a guy who certainly deserved to be in. We've talked a lot about his defense, but batting .305 on the season, 5 stolen bases as well, getting on at a .356 clip. I mean, there are guys on that all-star roster that don't stack up numbers-wise, and for a second-year guy who shows leadership, I don't see why he's not there.
So here's Chandler Taylor, and the lefty takes a fastball for strike number 1. Taylor also not on the all-star roster, but he will be participating in the festivities. He has made the Home Run Derby roster, which is no surprise, of course, the finalist at the National Home Run Derby. Here comes the 0-1. In there for another called strike toward the inside corner, and so the count 0-2. Taylor stopped in place for a minute after hearing that call from Robert Aquino behind the dish. He's behind him in count 0-2. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss, he got him. Out in front of that one was Chandler Taylor. That looked like a slider down and away. So a 3-pitch K, the first one today for Chandler Day, and there are 2 quick outs here in this first inning.
And we know Taylor can hit the ball a mile when he gets a hold of it, but there is a little bit of swing and miss in his game. He's definitely more of a big uppercut swinger. Almost reminds you a little bit of a slightly smaller Adam Dunn who can hit the ball a mile when he makes contact, but is prone to strikeouts. But again, he's definitely going to put on a show in Wareham for the Home Run Derby.
The first pitch to Mickey Gasper misses low for ball 1. Taylor with 22 strikeouts in 21 games this season for Brewster. Remember, he hasn't played every game. Shevchik has, in some instances, like to set him against lefties. 1-0 pitch to Mickey Gasper. Misses outside. So the count 2 balls and no strikes on the Whitecaps catcher today. Switch hitter hitting from the left side. Day staring and shakes off a sign. Now gets the one he likes. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. It misses down and in to make the count 3-0. On the year, Mickey Gasper probably the biggest no-brainer in terms of the All-Stars that were named for Brewster. It was Gasper, Michael Curry, and the third was Robert Broom for Brewster. Hitting .316 on the season is Gasper, a sparkling .458 OBP, 4 home runs, and 22 runs driven in, which is second on the Cape. Here comes the 3-0. It misses up high and away, so a 4-pitch walk to the Brewster catcher. And there's a runner on with 2 men out here in the top of the first inning.
And that's just a perfect example. Obviously, Dave missing outside there with the fastball for ball 4, but Gasper is such a disciplined hitter when he's up there in the box that you really got to find the zone. I mean, he's not a guy typically who you're going to throw a pitch off the plate and get the chase. You really got to pound your zone and make the pitcher beat him.
So here's the righty, Michael Curry, digging in with Gasper on first base. He fouls the first pitch back to the screen. We're just underway. Top of the first inning here at Eldridge Park in Orleans. Scoreless between Brewster and the first place Firebirds, who are 17-10 on the season. Brewster at 14-13-1. They're right smack dab in the middle of the East Division standings, sandwiched by YD and Chatham, who are playing tonight each other. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Misses up high, makes the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Curry hitting .317, a .475 OVP, 1 home run, and 11 runs driven in. Got into the game yesterday as a pinch hitter and struck out in both of his appearances. Here comes the 1-1. It misses up and in on an off-speed pitch to make the count 2-1. That was the first game that Curry had played this season where he did not manage to reach base. Just a guy who knows how to get on and has some pop to his bat when he can get a good swing on a baseball. Waiting on a 2-1 pitch, righty to righty. Here it comes. And it's at high in the air, a pop fly. That one's heading behind the plate. Moving over is the catcher, Hale, with the mask off, and he makes the catch right behind home plate for out number 3. So Curry just basically hit that one straight up in the air, and Austin Hale behind the plate was able to put it away for the Orleans Firebirds. So a quick top of the first inning here. No runs for Brewster, no hits. They do leave a runner on. We're through a half. It's Brewster nothing and YD coming to bat, or excuse me, Orleans coming to bat. YD was here yesterday. Whitecaps baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wedeel and Aiden Doyle. Back at Eldridge Park, we are scoreless here after a half inning of play between the Whitecaps and the Orleans Firebirds, and the Brewster starter Ryan Avadano is taking his warm-up pitches. The lefty out of Georgia standing at 6'6" on the mound. So far this season for Avadano, this is start number 3 for him on the year. He's made 6 appearances in total. He's thrown 18 2/3 innings pitched to the tune of a 1.93 ERA. Doesn't quite qualify for the league leaders, but if it did, it would be the best on this team among starting pitchers. 22 hits allowed in those 18 2/3 innings. He's given up 5 walks and 18 strikeouts in that time as well. Get you set on the Brewster defense behind him. He's got Gasper behind the plate receiving his pitches. The infield third to first is Datris, Graffinino, Dunn, and Infante. And in the outfield for Brewster, Marty Costas is out in left, Hunter Bishop is in center, and Chandler Taylor is in right. And he'll face the top of the Firebirds order, Jimmy Herron, Lars Nupbar, and Nico Decolati. Herron and Decolati both named All-Stars today as Harris digs in from the right side against the lefty Avadano, and here comes the first pitch at the bottom of the first inning. It's a fastball, and it misses up and away to make the count 1-0 on Heron, who's hitting .360 with a .462 OBP, 2 homers, 10 runs driven in, and he laces this one into center field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Just lined that one like a bullet out in front of Hunter Bishop in center. A hard hit single to start the Orleans offense off, and the leadoff man is on here in the bottom of the first.
The thing with Avadano is he's not a guy who's going to overpower anyone. He's more of a low 90s, touching 90 type pitcher with that sharp or kind of looping breaking ball he throws in there from the side. Almost got like a 3/4 arm slot from the big tall lefty. So he's a guy who's got to keep the ball down and try and get lefty hitters out with that slider.
So here's Lars Newtbar, and the lefty fouls the pitch off in front of the plate, just kind of dribbles away toward the first base side. You're right, Aiden. It's basically fastball, curveball, and change. And for Avadano, it's about changing speeds and throwing strikes. 0-1 is the count on Newtbar, who's hitting .257 on the season, a .389 on base percentage. No homers, 2 runs batted in. Hitting second and playing first base. Can also play some outfield for this Firebirds club. Runner on first base and no one out. And they will check the runner on first, Jimmy Heron. No score here, bottom of the first inning, and Heron 8 out of 9 stealing bases this season. He got more stolen bases than anybody else on this Firebird squad. Your typical leadoff hitter, really gets on base a lot, can run. Waiting on a 0-1 pitch now to Newtbar. And Avadano deals, runners going, the pitch is a high chopper back to Avadano. He thinks about going to second, but will wheel over and throw to first base for the shore out. Getting into second there safely is Jimmy Heron, so the Firebirds were lucky they sent Heron on that pitch. Otherwise, that would have been an easy double play. Instead, it's a fielder's choice to first base, and the Firebirds have a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, with Heron running on the play, Avadano actually didn't quite transfer the ball perfectly out of his glove. Kind of had trouble getting the grip on it. So there makes a smart decision, just gets the sure out at first base. You don't want a situation there, especially in the bottom of the first inning, and you're only the number 2 hitter up, where you try and force the out at second and then have runners on first and second base with nobody out.
So here comes another newly minted Cape League All-Star, Nico Decolati, who's hitting from the right side against the lefty Avadano. Runner on second and 1 out. The pitch is a fastball that misses upstairs to make the count 1-0. Decolati hitting .318 on the season, .357 on base percentage, no homers and 9 runs driven in. One of 8 All-Stars in all on this Orleans ball club. That's the most out of any team on the Cape. 1-0 still the count. Avadano settles on a pitch with his catcher catcher Gasper behind the plate for Brewster today. And the pitch just misses outside to make the count 2 balls and no strikes on Nico Decolati. Taking an aggressive lead on second base is Jimmy Heron with 1 man out. We're in the bottom of the first inning. Still no score here at Eldridge Park. And here comes the 2-0 pitch. Another fastball misses outside. So the count 3 balls and no strikes. Decolati out of Loyola Marymount University. A rising junior originally from Las Vegas, Nevada, and Avadano will wheel over and glare at the runner on second, Jimmy Heron, send him scampering back to the bag without a throw. And now we'll hold the set with the count 3-0. Here comes the delivery. Fastball misses upstairs, so that's ball 4. So Avadano surrenders a walk, and it's first and second with 1 man out in the bottom of the first for Orleans.
It's been really interesting to see the difference between Ryan Avadano on the Cape and Ryan Avadano in Athens, Georgia. Because this year for the Bulldogs, he appeared in 18 games through 24 innings, had a 7.77 ERA. He struck out 29, so you know he's got put-away stuff, but he also walked 19. This year for Brewster in 18 2/3, struck out 18, so about a strikeout an inning, but only walked 5, and I think that's been the key, is lowering the number of walks, fewer people on base, and you got a 1.93 ERA.
Here comes Romy Gonzalez. Runners are going. Gasper gets the pitch and throws to third base, but the throw is not going to be in time. It's a double steal as Decolati goes to second and Heron goes to third on the first pitch. That pitch was out of his zone, so it's a 1-0 count. An aggressive play from manager Kelly Nicholson for Orleans, but it pays off. It's now 2 runners in scoring position and just 1 man out. And that takes the double play away as well. Stolen base number 9 for Heron and number 2 for Decolati. Gonzalez, a righty here, digging back in. 1-0 the count on him. Avadano ready. Here comes the pitch. Another fastball that misses up. Seems like he's been leaving a lot of those upstairs, and Mickey Gasper will trot out to have a talk with him. A big spot here in this frame. The corners are in for Brewster. The middle infielders are still playing back right now, based on where they're situated during the conversation. 2-0 of a count on Gonzalez, the infielder by trade out of Miami. He's a Miami native, a rising sophomore. And now Avadano is ready and will stare in and holds the set with the count 2-0. Here comes the delivery. It misses up high and gets away from the catcher Gasper, heading home and making it there safely from third base is Heron with the first run of this ball game. We'll see how that scored. That was a fastball that was a little bit up, and Gasper tried to glove it, but it sort of just popped out of the mitt and trickled behind him. And that's the first run of the game. It's now 1-0 Firebirds, and Decolati will move to third on the play.
Gasper was set up low there, and the pitch from Avadano just missed badly way upstairs. Gasper trying to shoot the glove up, reach up as if he's trying to, grab a rim on a basketball court or something like that. But the glove just tipped off of the end of it and went behind home plate. That's some bad luck there.
So runner on third and 1 out, and the pitch is swung on and missed. A big cut at that one from Gonzalez to make the count 3-1. Had the green light on 3-0 from Nicholson. Quite an eventful at-bat for Gonzalez. He dug in with runners on first and second, and now there's a run in and a runner at third. Waiting on a 3-1. Here it comes. It's hit high in the air out to center field. Moving back is the center fielder Bishop. He's on his horse. He's heading to the wall, and he makes the catch. Tagging from third and scoring there easily is Nico Decolati. He gave that one a ride, did Romy Gonzalez, but there's a lot of room out there in center. 434 to dead center here at Eldridge Park, and Bishop was able to haul it in. Nevertheless, it's 2-0 Orleans on that sacrifice fly.
I think in just about every other ballpark on the Cape, that's a home run. Romy Gonzalez is a guy we know he has power. I mean, he's going to the Cape League Home Run Derby at Spillane Field in a week, so he's a guy who can hit for a lot of power, and he gave that one a ride. Good job there by Bishop, though, who has good speed out in the outfield. He can cover a lot of ground, making the play there just shy of the fence.
Yeah, really was on his horse from the get-go on that play. So here's Ethan Paul, and the lefty takes a pitch high and outside to make the count 1-0. That was another first pitch fastball from Ryan Avadano. That was scored a passed ball to Mickey Gasper, so that first run was unearned. First pitch, he misses up, so they count 2 balls and no strike. So a kind of a strange ending, just the one hit in this frame for Orleans, but they've been able to put 2 runs on the board on the pass ball and the sac fly for Gonzalez, his 10th RBI of the season. The 2-0 pitch, another fastball that just misses the plate to make the count 3-0. Seems like fastball command has not quite been where Ryan Avadano would like it here. 2 runs already in for Orleans. It's 2-0 Firebirds in the bottom of the first inning here at Eldridge Park. Avadano staring in. Here comes the 3-0. It misses up high for ball 4. So the second walk that Avadano has already surrendered in this ball game, and another runner is aboard for Orleans with 2 men out here in the bottom of the first.
It just seems as though Avadano's not quite finishing his delivery. I mean, he's a guy who is incredibly imposing out there on the mound, 6'7". So there's a lot of length, a lot of long arms. So when he's not finishing that delivery, he's going to miss high. And his misses are going to be higher than, someone who's 6 feet tall, 6'1", simply just based on how tall and the length of his arms. So with him, if he's not finishing delivery, he's going to be prone to missing high, well above the letters. And we've seen that. 2 walks already in the first inning, and then the passed ball that allowed Decolati to score was one that missed high when Gasper was set up downstairs.
Whitecaps pitching coach Austin Straub has come and gone from the mound, giving some guidance to Avadano. You wonder how much of what you just said, Aiden, was a part of that conversation. In any case, it's now Jack Roshan's turn, the Firebird third baseman. He's a right-handed hitter. The runner on first base is Ethan Paul. There's 2 men out in the bottom of the first. Orleans ahead 2-0 already here in this first frame. The pitch from Avadano is grooved in there for a strike to make the count 0-1. Brewster opened their season here at Eldridge Park, got the win 6-1, and since then, like a lot of other teams on the Cape League, they haven't really been able to figure out these Firebirds. And here comes the 0-1 pitch. It's fouled away behind the plate to make the count 0-2. These two teams met in a home and home just before the 4th of July holiday Brewster dropping both games. That was in the midst of Orleans' 10-game winning streak when it looked like they could beat anybody. It looked like they could suit up against the Boston Red Sox and come away with a W. Since then, they've come a little bit more back down to earth, but they've established themselves as the cream of the crop in this Eastern Division. Runner on first base, 2 out, 0-2 the count. Avadano looking to get out of this first inning. He holds the set, checks the runner, and deals. It's hit high in the air, a little looper down the right field line. That one's going to dunk in there for a base hit. Chandler Taylor will scoop it up. Heading over to third base and getting there safely is Ethan Paul. Just a little looper pushing it the other way there was Jax Groshans. A nice piece of hitting meeting that baseball. And they're first and third with 2 men out. Orleans threatening for more here in this first inning.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Carter. Groshans just meeting that baseball, not trying to do too much with it, taking the pitch outside from Avadano and just looping it into shallow right field. That's the way that you're going to string hits together. That's what this Whitecaps team so far for a lot of games there this season has lacked, is just putting together hits. You notice a lot of these balls that Orleans has had aren't very hard hit. They're getting on base with walks and just putting the ball in play when it's in the zone.
Yeah, probably the hardest hit ball we've seen today was an out. It was a sac fly from Roman Gonzalez that Bishop had to get on his horse to get. So here comes Brandon Riley, and the pitch to the lefty hitter misses outside to make the count 1 ball and no strikes on Riley. So far for Avadano, he's thrown 21 pitches. 13 of them have been out of the zone. Has not been able to find the strike zone so far in this game. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. That misses up, and the count is 2 balls and no strikes. Groshans in first base has yet to steal a bag this season, though he has tried once and was caught. It's Ethan Paul who's got decent speed at third. Riley so far this season hitting .286. No homers, 10 runs driven in. The pitch is a ground ball toward the right side, moving to his left and fielding it. No, it's off the glove of Dunn, and it will be everybody's going to be safe. It's going to be an E4. Dunn will throw to second, and they're going to try and get him at third. He's going to be safe at third base is Jax Groshans. So a run comes in to score, and Groshans moves to third on an E4. A costly error there from Nick Dunn at second base, and it's now 3-0 Firebirds here in the first inning.
Well, on the error there, there's nothing you're going to do there about Paul scoring, but allowing Groshans to move to third base is huge there for Brewster, because Dunn obviously knocks the ball down, boots it a little bit, and then throws to second, realizing they have Groshans in between second and third. But then Graffinino hesitated a little bit, allowing Groshans, who has pretty good speed on the base paths, to take off. If he had just caught the ball and immediately looked towards third to throw instead of trying to catch him in a rundown, there's a better chance you have Groshans at third base.
So now here's the DH, Steve Passatempo, hitting from the right side. And the pitch misses down and in. Really a tough play for that. You know, I'm sure Jamie Shevchik was talking about how they went on that string without having an error in a ball game, about how unearned runs can really affect the pitching staff. 2 unearned runs in misframe out of the 3 that the Firebirds have scored. 1-0 pitch is a ground ball, a soft one through the middle, fielded over by Dunn. He flips over to Graffinino for the force play, and that will finish things in the bottom of the first inning. But the damage is done for Orleans. They jump on top of this game, as they have with a lot of teams so far this season. They get 3 runs on 2 hits, 1 big error, and 2 men left on base. We're through 1 full inning of play here at Eldridge Park. It's 3-0 in favor of the Firebirds. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Do you know what that sound is? That's your new digital marketing department. And that'll be your new web designer. And that's Haibu, where these experts are joined by many more, from web designers to search marketing specialists, who work hard to get your business noticed online and on mobile. Best of all, Haibu can do it all for you, or give you the tools to do it yourself. To find out more, go to haibu.com. That's HIBU.com, or call 855-464-HIBU. Oh, that'll be your next new customer. Haibu, made for business.
All right, we welcome you back to Eldridge Park. Here it will be Dunn, Datris, and Bishop for Brewster to start things off. Those are the 5, 6, and 7 hitters in Jamie Shevchik's lineup card. We're starting the top of the second inning. A 3-0 lead already here for the Orleans Firebirds as they were able to get 3 runs on the board in that top of the first inning. And the first pitch to the lefty, Dunn, is in there for a strike on a nice-looking fastball from Chandler Day. Plenty of height in our pitching matchup today. Day 6'5" out of Vandy. Avadano for Brewster 6'6". The pitch is hit hard on the ground to second base. Scooped up over there by Paul, and he throws to first base in time for out number 1. Getting you set on Orleans' defense. We didn't have time. Very quick top of the first inning for Brewster. In the outfield, it's Riley, Heron, and Decolati left to right. In the infield, third to first, it's Groshans at third. Gonzalez is at shortstop. Paul, as we mentioned, is at second. Lars Newbar at first. And Austin Hale will be doing the catching for Kelly Nicholson's club tonight, with Chandler Day towing the rubber. So here comes Kyle Datris. Digging in from the right side, the UNC Tar Heel. Here comes the pitch, and it's misses high and tight. A lot of zip to that fastball. Watching it in person for the first time from Chandler Day out of Vanderbilt. 1-0 is the count. Datris so far on the year hitting .292 with .373 on base percentage. Takes another fastball that just misses low at the knees. Looked like Hale had the target up high. Had to reach down to snag it. A nice job to glove that fastball from Austin Hale, the catcher. Here comes the 2-0 offering. Fastball in there for a strike at the knees. So 3 heaters from Chandler Day to start things off against Datris. He gets one of them to connect in the target. 2-1 is the count. Datris with 5 runs driven in this year, no home runs. And we're waiting on a 2-1 offering here from Chandler Day. Here it comes. Another fastball and another one in there for a strike at the knees. Home plate ump Robert Aquino taking plenty of time to mull over his decisions for a bit before announcing them to the world behind the plate. 2-2 is the count. Righty to righty. Day takes a deep breath and now delivers. It misses low on another fastball. That one skimmed the dirt before it reached the glove of Hale behind the plate. So the count is full. 5 pitches and 5 heaters so far for Day. 3-2 pitch on the way to Kyle Datris. And here comes the offering. It's hit high in the air out to left field. It's going to tail foul and head over into about last row of lawn chairs before it meets the road out there. It's probably the only stadium on the Cape where they make sure to warn folks not to run in the middle of the street to get a foul ball, which I would think is a very sensible warning to make. Here comes the 3-2. It misses down and in, ball 4, so Kyle Datris, give him credit, very patient at the plate in that at-bat, and he is rewarded with a walk, and Brewster has a runner on with 1 man out.
Yeah, that's just more of what we've seen from Kyle Datris. He is now second on the team in walks, with that being his 17th of the year, coming into the game an on-base percentage of .400. So he's a guy who really works the count. Despite, coming into this game only batting .264, he's getting on base at a very high clip.
And they check on him at first base. He dives back in time, so says Ronaldo Cockrum, the first base umpire. Really had to get back there quickly. And now it's time for Hunter Bishop. Bishop, a left-handed hitter out of Arizona State, digging in. Holding the set is Day, and he deals. It's a fastball that misses just low, and so the count is 1 ball and no strikes on Hunter Bishop. Bishop so far, another guy with a better OBP than his average makes it look, hitting .209 on the year, .312 on base percentage. No home runs, 8 runs driven in. Has been heating up at the plate, I think, a little bit as of late for Brewster. Here comes the 1-0. It's a fastball grooved in there for a strike at the knees to make the count 1-1 on the Arizona State product. Brewster, as we mentioned, coming off a tough loss to the Whitey Red Sox at home yesterday. 2-1 was the final score of that game. Had a lead up until the 8th inning, did Brewster. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. It bounces in front of the plate low to make the count 2 balls and 1 strike. It's 3-0 Orleans here at Eldridge Park. Here in the top of the second inning. And Jamie Shevchik, when he was talking to us before the ball game, said he kind of puts that in the same category as the doubleheader in Katuitt, where Brewster had 2 one-run losses on the same day as games that they think they might want back at the end of the season. 2-1 pitch, swing and a miss. Hunter Bish way out in front of that one. Took a big corkscrew swing, and the count is even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Bishop. Runner on first base and 1 man out. Day holding the set with his glove at his belt buckle. Here comes the pitch. It misses down and in. Runners going for second on a bit of a delayed skill. The throw down to second base is not in time. Safe at second is Kyle Datris. He's now a perfect 4 out of 4 stealing bases this season. That's a big one for the Whitecaps. It moves the runner into scoring position with the count full on Bishop.
Yeah, that was a really close play at second base. Datris just getting in there. Almost looked like a Darius Hill slide where he somehow miraculously avoids the tag.
Yeah, he did not have a good jump and managed to make up for it. 3-2 is the count on Bishop. Here comes the pitch. It's hit on the ground sharply toward the right side. Moving to his right and fielding it is Paul. He throws to first base in time for out number 2. Kyle Datris moves over to third on the play. So it's up to Infante now to try and bring this run home. Infante has had a few situations where he's delivered in the clutch for Brewster since he's been brought into the fold with this Whitecaps team. Infante, a right-handed hitter out of Vandy. Datris is aboard on third base. It's 3-0 Orleans here in the top of inning number 2 here at Eldridge Park. Here comes the first pitch to Infante, and it misses down and away to make the count 1-0. Infante so far this season hitting .226, a .333 OBP. No home runs yet and 6 runs driven in. This is Infante's 10th game of the season, and he's been able to find some action. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. It misses low to make the count 2 balls and no strike. Runner on third base with 2 men out. And Infante staring in. Holding the set is Chandler Day. Here comes the pitch. It's hit sharply foul left side. One of those where the third base dugout kind of has to duck for a minute. That one wound up whizzing over the roof of the dugout and whacking against the netting. It's the Whitecaps dugout on the third base side here in Orleans. Had to take a second. But the count will be 2-1. Here on Julian Infante. Chandler Day is still looking loose on the mound, kind of waggling his head back and forth, getting himself ready to take the sign from Austin Hale behind the plate. And now he holds the set again. Here comes the 2-1 offering. It's a ground ball foul. That one bounced, looked like it bounced right off of home plate and then whacked off of the batting glove of Infante as he finished his follow-through and it was kicked over behind home plate. Kind of a strange little pinball sequence there.
I know we're coming up on the men's final of Wimbledon tomorrow, women's today. That almost looked like a backhand there from Julian Infante. Shot straight up and then with the follow-through just kind of came through and knocked the ball back again.
It's 3-0 Orleans. We're in the top of the second inning. Whitecaps trying to cut into the deficit with the runner on third and 2 outs. Waiting on a 2-2 pitch to the righty Infante. Here it comes. Swing and a miss, he got him. Strike number 3. An off-speed pitch there from Chandler Day sends Infante packing. That's his second strikeout is Day for the ball game. And the Whitecaps fail to bring that run across here in the second inning. No runs, no hits, and a runner left on third base for Brewster here in the second. We're through an inning and a half here at Eldridge Park. It's 3-0 Orleans. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Waddell and Aiden Doyle. We welcome you back to Eldridge Park, where the sun is still peeking out from the hill in right field. Not too long before it will descend over the horizon, and we'll switch on the lights here at this gorgeous ballpark. 9-1 and 2 due up for Orleans in the bottom of the second. They're working on a 3-0 lead against Avedano, and the first pitch misses up high to Austin Hale. The catcher hitting him a 9 spot for Kelly Nicholson's club so far tonight. 1-0 pitch on the way. It's fouled back. That was a pitch that was up in the zone, and Hale went after it, just kind of doinked it back toward the screen. 2 of the 3 runs that Orleans have scored in this ball game will not show up on Avedano's ERA. One came in on a passed ball. That was the first one. Jimmy Herron came in to score on that. A sacrifice fly, and then an error from Nick Dunn allowed the next one to score. The pitch is in there for a strike. Brings the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Austin Hale, who's hitting .200 on the season, .273 OBP. Here comes the 1-2. Just misses outside. Avedano just trying to groove that one in there, as he does. Again, one of those guys that's more trying to throw you off balance than blow you away. Saw one of those in Paulie Milto yesterday. Here comes the 2-2. 3 shakes from Avedano, and now he's going to take a second. Looked like time was called from Hale. Probably no issue there for Avedano, as he and Gasper, the catcher, weren't quite on the same page. They are now, and here comes the 2-2 pitch. It's fouled away. Just got a piece to whack it behind the plate. Did Austin Hale. So we'll do it again. The count 2 balls and 2 strikes on the catcher for the Firebirds. Hale out of Winter Park, Florida. He's a Stetson University Hatter, one of 2 of them on this Orleans Firebirds club. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Misses inside. Gasper did his best to kind of pull that one back into the strike zone so far, and we don't have the best look at it from where we are a little bit down the third baseline here in Orleans. Looks like we're seeing it's a pretty tight zone from Robert Aquino behind the dish in this ball game. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. It's hit on the hard foul right side. Whacks into the netting over there. One of the things I really like about this ballpark here in Orleans is there's plenty of netting. It extends well beyond the dugout, especially on that right side with the hill. All the spectators in their lawn chairs and blankets. Don't have to worry about a liner like that. Count is full, 3-2. Here comes the pitch to the right-handed hitter. And it's in there, called. Strike 3, inside corner. He took a few steps to first base, did Austin Hale, but will have to take a couple steps back to the dugout as Avedano wins the battle. Just kind of a matter of pinpoint accuracy with those pitches. That's the first strikeout for the Georgia Bulldog in this ball game.
Well, it's a close call, and also Robert Aquino taking his sweet time making the call doesn't exactly help with Austin Hale there. I mean, he got a solid 5 to 10 feet down the first baseline before the call was made. Either way, though, a great spot from Avedano, nailing that fastball right on the inner corner. So
here's Jimmy Herron, and he takes a strike at the knees as we're back to the top of the Orleans Firebirds order. Yeah, it seemed like Avedano got a couple of pitches that didn't quite go his way earlier in that at-bat, and then I guess karma, or whatever you want to call it, was back on his side. Here comes the 0-1 pitch, and Herron hits a high chopper left side, moving to his right and sliding to field the baseball is Graffinino. He falls over and throws, but it won't be in time. An excellent effort there from the Brewsters shortstop, but that was just too far of a throw to make from his knees, and it's an infield single for Herron, his second base hit of the ball game.
Yeah, that was, an unbelievable stop from Graffinino, showing off that defense that we talked so much about, but with Herron's wheels, there was no shot at getting him at first base. But either way, a nice play by Graffinino, ranging to his right.
It's 3-0 Orleans here in the bottom of the second inning. And here comes Lars Newbar. It's lefty versus lefty here. Graffinino checks the runner at first and deals. It's a breaking ball that misses. That one popped out of the mid of Gasper after he tried to reel in that baseball. Wonder if that prevented him from possibly framing that pitch. It looked pretty good from our admittedly limited vantage point. Here comes the 1-0 pitch to the lefty hitter. Avedano is ready. He checks the runner not once but twice, and here comes the pitch. That misses outside on a fastball to make the count 2 balls and no strikes. Newbar hit a ground ball to the right side his first time up in the bottom of the first inning. A dribbler that was fielded by Avedano and flipped over to Infante for the out. 2-0 is the count. They're going to check him over at first base. Avedano has kind of one of the weird intricacies that you'll find with the pitcher, when he does what he just did there and throws over to first base to check on a runner, he does it with a sidearm motion, which you don't see on the mound when he's throwing home plate. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. Runner's going. The pitch is hit high in the air out to left field. Moving back is the left fielder Costas, now rambling to his right, and he makes the catch. Costas moved back a couple of steps, then got a better read on it and moved over to his right. And anytime somebody sends a baseball in the air to left field in this ballpark, you kind of hold your breath for a second. 350 to the power alley out there, and even shorter once you get toward the line. But Costas able to reel it in for the second out.
Yeah, in left field here at Eldridge Park, just 300 feet to the left field foul pole. So right-handed hitters and even a lefty with some opposite field power can really take advantage of it. We saw it an opening night. Mickey Gasper going deep here. That one a little bit further out to left center.
So here's the righty hitter Decolati, and the pitch is fouled away toward the right side to start things off for him, as that one got just over the netting, but I was telling you about. Headed over towards some folks near the top of the hill. It looks like everybody's going to be all right. Yep, they've given the all good signal out there. Always want to make sure everybody is just fine at the ballpark. 0-1 is the count. Still a runner on first base. The jersey for that runner, Jimmy Herron, is plenty dirty. The pitch is swung on and missed to make the count 0-2. Looked like Decolati might have been sitting on something off speed because that fastball got blown by him, and the count is 0-2. Decolati walked his first time up, later stole second, and after that came in to score on a sacrifice fly from Romy Gonzalez, who stands on deck for the Firebirds. It's 3-0 Orleans in the bottom of the second. The pitch is fouled away again toward the right side. And we'll do it again. The 0-2 is the count on Nico Decolati. Decolati is known as a player who's got a really good feel for the strike zone. Right now has spoiled a couple of pitches here and is behind him. Count 0-2. A health and human sciences major digging in. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Runner bluffs the pitch, check swing on a pitch that was in there for a called strike. So strike 3 called on Nico Decolati. A couple of strikeout looking in the box score for Orleans in his second inning, and the Firebirds can't put a run across. No runs on 1 hit and 1 left for Orleans at the bottom of the second. They still lead 3-0 to the Firebirds after 2. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Waddell and Aiden Doyle. Back here at Eldridge Park, we're starting the top of inning number 3, and the deficit for the Whitecaps is 3. It is 3-0 in favor of Orleans. It'll be 9-1-2 for Brewster here in the third inning. Costas, and then the top of the order, Graffinino and Taylor, as Marty Costas will saunter over to the plate and dig in against Chandler Day. Costas back in the lineup in left field. That left field position has been kind of a revolving door, a platoon situation for Jamie Shevchik. And Shevchik, when we were talking to him before the game, gave us a little insight into why Costas is there. Here comes the first pitch to him from the righty. It's at a high chopper toward the left side. It's a slow one. Moving over to field is the third baseman, Groshans. He throws across. The throw is high, and he pulls the first baseman off the bag. Safe at first is Marty Costas. That was a nice play by Groshans to get to that baseball, but the throw wound up being a little wayward, so it's an infield hit for Marty. And that's the first leadoff runner that the Whitecaps have been able to get aboard in this game.
Yeah, that was a tough play over there, and Costas with good speed down the first baseline. The defender's going to have to rush it anyways. I mean, they're aware of that, so they're not taking their sweet time fielding that ball. So more pressure on the defense to make the play, and the throw got away from them.
So Graffinino will dig in from the left side back to the top of this Brewster order, and the first pitch to him is a fastball that is in there for a strike at the knees. Make the count 0-1. Graffinino, his first time up, hit a ground ball to the right side. Fielded over by the first baseman Newtbar and retired 3-1 to the covering Chandler Day. Costas aboard first base with nobody out. The 0-1 offering is a line drive. It's fielded on a hop by the second baseman Paul. He flips to short for one. On to first. It's not in time. Graffinino able to beat out that potential double play ball. It was a tricky situation for Paul. He had to decide whether to come in a couple of steps and catch it on the fly, or at least try to, or try and turn the double play by letting it drop. He chose the latter, and Graffinino was aboard on the fielder's choice.
And he made the right choice, because if you try and come in on that ball, catch it on the fly, short hops you and it gets past you into right field, then you're looking at 2 runners on, nobody out. Sure, you don't get the double play here. It takes your time. Graffinino reaches, but you already have a 1-out. Double play is still in order. A much better situation.
So here is Chandler Taylor. The pitch to the lefty misses up high. Brewster trailing Orleans 3-0 as we stand in the top of the 3rd inning. Taylor struck out swinging on a slider his first time up against Chandler Day. It's a Chandler-Chandler matchup here. Here comes the 1-0. Misses outside to make the count 2 balls and no strikes. If there's any consolation on that play for Brewster, it does bring a better base stealer over to first base, at least in terms of just pure quantity. Graffinino 5 out of 8 this season stealing bags for the Whitecaps so far. He leads off of first base with 1 man out. Waiting on a 2-0. Here it comes. And it misses up high. No, it's in there for a called strike. That one was up at the letters to Chandler Taylor, but Robert Aquina delivers the strike call, so 2-1 is the count on the Alabama product. Holding the set is Chandler Day with the runner aboard first base. Here comes the pitch. And it misses outside on the fastball, so 3-1 the count on Chandler Taylor. Chandler Day, a returning player on this Firebirds roster. Got his fair share of action last year, 11 games, had a .391 ERA for Orleans. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. It misses low for ball 4. So Chandler Taylor reaches via the walk. So an infield single, a fielder's choice ground ball, and a walk put first and third for Brewster with 1 man out. This is the kind of rally that Whitecaps fans have been used to so far this year, Aiden.
Let's say an interesting inning is now the Firebirds pitching coach will go out there and have a chat with Day. But you've talked about it. Infield single, fielder's choice, walk. I mean, however you can get base runners on. That's the thing, is that I think in baseball today there's so much talk and so much of an obsession about exit velocity and how far you're hitting the ball. Just get guys on base, move them around, string together base hits. You'll score more runs than trying to sell out on every single swing for a deep fly ball or a long home run.
And I think in that vein, that might be what makes it a little bit more frustrating for Jamie Shevchik when he's talking to us about a loss like the one Brewster had yesterday, when you're able to set the table as much as they did. I mean, again, they left 10 runners on. They left the bases loaded at one point in the 4th inning of yesterday's game, but they weren't really able to get that big hit. The only run they scored was when Costas scrambled in on a wild pitch. They never got a big RBI hit in that game. So that can be frustrating when you're constantly setting the table and putting guys on. Brewster walks more than any other team in the league, but not able to get the hit. Let's see if Gasper can get it here. Digs in from the left side against the righty Chandler Day. Does the switch hitter Gasper. He takes the first pitch in there for strike number 1. Gasper appropriately drew a walk his first time up. A 4-pitch walk in the first inning. It's 3-0 Orleans, tying run at the plate here for Brewster in the top of inning number 3. Graffinino on second, Taylor on first. The 0-1 pitch misses up high, so the count even 1 ball and 1 strike on Mickey Gasper. I mentioned Brewster way on top in terms of walks. They have 136 this year. The only other team with 100 is Katuitt, and they've got 101. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. It's hit high in the air, tailing toward foul ground on the left side, and that will get foul and out of play. That winds up one hopping off of the pavement on the road out there. I think that might have whacked off a traffic sign on the right side of that road. Here comes the 1-2 pitch is on the way as Day is staring in to get the sign from his catcher, Hale. First and second, and 1 man out. Big spot here early in this game for Brewster, who trail 3-0. The pitch is a breaking ball that misses way up high. Just didn't have any bite to that one. trying to see if he could get Gasper to go with a slider. So to count 2 balls and 2 strikes on Mickey. 2-2 the count. This is an important pitch and miss at bat. And Chandler Day treating it as such, shaking off the catcher Hale a couple of times, and now Hale wants to call time to run through these signs again. With Graffinino at second base, they want to make sure they're on the same page. A crucial offering coming up, but the count even 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mickey Gasper. Day now is ready again. He holds the set, takes a deep breath, and deals 2-2. And it's a fastball that misses outside. So 3-2 now the count on Gasper with 1 man out. And you wonder here, you got 2 speedy runners aboard in Graffinino and Chandler Taylor. If it might come into Shevchik's mind to maybe send him here with the count full 3-2. Waiting on a 3-2 offering from Chandler Day. Here comes the pitch. Nope, it's not going to come. Time was called in the middle of the pitcher's motion by the home plate umpire Robert Aquino, acting on the suggestion of Mickey Gasper in the lefty batter's box. Time was granted there. Didn't need to be. But Gasper gets a chance to reset, and now Chandler Day will reset as well. He holds the set again. 3-2 the count. Here comes the pitch. Checked his swing on a pitch that was low. They appealed to third base, and he did go around, and Mickey Gasper is retired swinging. Gasper with a frown on his face as he walks back. Just did appear to go around on that play. Held his bat out, not quite across the plane to kind of say, hey, listen, I didn't go. But Mickey Gasper strikes out, swinging in the book, and now it's up to Michael Curry here with 2 gone.
Yeah, that was a well-executed pitch there by Chandler Day, and you could see about halfway through that, Mickey Gasper just, no, please hold up. Tried to hold the bat, but just went around.
Pitch to the righty Curry is a breaking ball in there for a strike at Venise. What do you find of Chandler Day's pitch selection so far? We've seen a lot of fastballs, but I think he's been able to pepper in that slider at the right moment so far. He's gotten now 3 strikeouts, all from that slider. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Another breaking pitch. That one misses high and tight to Curry. And the count even now, 1 ball and 1 strike on the Georgia Bulldog. Curry in at DH, the newly minted Cape League All-Star. He had a high pop fly behind the plate that was caught by Hale his first time up. It's 3-0 Firebirds, top of the 3rd inning. The pitch, that looked like it hit the hand of Curry. It looked like that hit the bat and headed into foul territory. That was very near the batting gloves for Michael Curry, but that looked like it just sort of skimmed off of the thin part of the baseball bat as Curry was checking his swing a little bit. So it's a foul ball in the book, and the count is 1-2 on Curry. First and second for Brewster, 2 men out. Whitecaps trying to capitalize here. Chandler Day holds the set. Ready with the 1-2 pitch. Here it comes. It misses low. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. That was a good pitch to lay off there for Michael Curry. Wasn't too far below the knees, but he let it go by, and now the count 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and 2 on here for Brewster. 3-0 Firebirds, top of the 3rd here at Eldridge Park. The lights are on. The sun has disappeared, but 2-2 is hit high in the air, foul ground behind the plate, and will head over everything. So Curry will dig in again. And we've talked about how Brewster can set the table a lot. One thing that they will do is they make the pitcher work. Even if you don't capitalize in a situation like this. Now Michael Curry has seen everything that Chandler Day has to offer. Gasper's seen the same thing, and Day has had to throw a bunch of pitches in this inning. 2-2 pitch coming along. It's hit on the ground, sharply foul, third base side. As that one just wide of third base, had to dodge it a little bit there. It looked like was Brewster third base coach Ryan Smythe. So Curry staying alive here with the count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's Graffinino on second, Chandler Taylor on first base for Brewster. Day still staring in at his catcher Hale, now comes set. And here comes the 2-2 offering. Check swinging a ball in the dirt, they're going to appeal, and he did not go. So says Ronaldo Cockrum at first base. So the count is full 3-2, and that, importantly, will send the runners from first and second. Now if Michael Curry can find the gap, it will probably mean 2 runs for Brewster. Whitecaps trailing 3-0 top of the 3rd inning. Curry getting ready in the batter's box here for an important pitch out of the hand of Chandler Day, and we're going to have another time call here again as Chandler Day was getting ready to throw. 3-2 still the count on Curry, who digs back in pretty quickly. 0-1-1 for Brewster, 3-3-0 for the Orleans Firebirds. First and second, 2 out the pitch. Runners go. The pitch is hit high in the air. A high ball. Shallow center field coming out as the second baseman, Paul, and he makes the catch to retire the side. So a lengthy battle, but in the end, Michael Curry gets what he got his first time at bat, and that was a high pop fly for the final out of the frame. Brewster puts a couple runners on, do not bring them home. No runs on 1 hit, 2 left for the Whitecaps in the top of the third inning. At the end of 2.5 innings of play, it's 3-0 Orleans. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Back here at Eldridge Park, Brewster with another missed opportunity in that top of the third inning. And we head to the bottom of the third with Orleans still hanging on to a 3-0 lead. It will be Romy Gonzalez to begin things, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters up for Orleans against Ryan Avadano. The lefty out of Georgia. Here comes the pitch to the righty Gonzalez, and it's hit high in the air to right field. On his horse is Chandler Taylor. He's moving back to the track, to the wall, looking up, and it's out of here! Romy Gonzalez with a solo home run, his 3rd of the season. And another RBI for him tonight, celebrating his all-star selection in a big way. It's now 4-0 Firebirds here in the 3rd.
Well, there he's showing off the power that is the reason he's in the Home Run Derby this year in the Cape League. That one to right center field, about 370 out to right center field there. I mean, that is some impressive opposite field power from Romy Gonzalez. We saw in his first at-bat, he had a long fly ball at the left center that Hunter Bishop ran down, just missed a home run by a matter of 5 feet.
Pitch to Ethan Paul, misses up and away, 1-0.
And that one, though, he was pretty angry after the first one, made sure he was going to get the most of his second at-bat.
Yeah, I tell you what, 2 huge fly balls off the bat. I think that maybe here comes the 1-0 pitch. It misses up high. That one just got over the wall in right field. I wonder if that fly ball out to Hunter Bishop for the sac fly went farther than the home run that we just saw. It's possible, as it's 359 to the power alley in right center. It went toward right center. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. And it misses outside. So while we're admiring the dinger, it's now 3-0 quickly here on Ethan Paul, who drew a walk his first time up and later came in to score on that error from Nick Dunn. The 3rd run in that 3-run first inning for the Firebirds. It's now 4-0 Orleans. The pitch. Fastball in there for a strikeout or edge. Looked like Paul was taken all the way. And so the count is 3-1. Pitch to the lefty, 3-1, misses up and in. So 2 plate appearances and 2 walks for Ethan Paul. That is the 3rd walk that Avadano has surrendered so far in this ball game. And so far, Orleans is doing what they are known to do, and that's jump on a team early and keep piling on runs. They've done it a lot this season. I mean, they had a 17-3 game earlier this year, a win where they scored more runs than any other Cape League team had since 2010. And they're starting to jump on this ball game here. Not saying we're headed down that road, but it's a 4-0 lead for Orleans, and they are clicking offensively.
And that walk for Paul gave him the team lead with 16, or tied for the team lead with 16 on the season.
Pitch to a ground ball left side. It's going to squirt through into left field past the diving third baseman Datris. A nice piece of hitting there from Jax Roshans, his 2nd single of the ball game, and both of them were kind of good ways to meet the baseball where it was Zach Roshans reaches on the ground ball. So it's 1st and 2nd and still nobody out with 1 run already in on the homer here in this bottom of the 3rd inning.
Well, they just found a hole in between short and third. We've talked so much about A.J. Graffinito's defense. You expect them to get to everything there on the left side, but couldn't quite get to that one. And just out of reach of a diving Datris, and then Graffinito couldn't quite make the play. Grosjean's a good hitter. He's now 2 for 2 on the day, and it's just a matter of finding those holes. With the exception of Gonzalez's long fly ball and the home run to right center, they haven't hit a ton of balls hard. It's just finding the areas.
First pitch to Brandon Riley is bunted down the third base line. It rolls foul. We're keeping our eye on the Whitecaps bullpen. Doesn't look like there's anything going on right there right now. They're trusting Avadano to try and work his way out of this third inning. So far, it's been a homer from Gonzalez, a walk to Ethan Paul, and a seeing eye single from Jax Groshans. And now Brandon Riley digs in. Count 0-1 on him. It's 4-0. Orleans on top here in the bottom of inning number 3. Riley reached on an error his first time up. That error from Dunn allowed a run to score. They check the runner at second. They throw back, and it's not in time. Nearly got away from Graffinino. A nice job by the Brewster shortstop to glove that one across his body as the runner on second, Ethan Paul, was sliding in. That very easily could have made it into center field. And with Hunter Bishop playing pretty deep considering the amount of ground that's out there, a dangerous proposition that. But everything's fine for Brewster. The 0-1 pitch, he shows bunt again, but takes this one low to make the count 1 ball and 1 strike. This is a pretty tailor-made situation if you are someone who believes that bunting is a good idea. First and second with nobody out. Orleans ahead 4-0. Riley hitting .286 on the year. Holding the set is Ryan Avadano. The pitch shows bunt again. It's bunted down the third base line. It trickles just foul before it's picked up by the bare hand of Mickey Gasper. That was a pretty good bunt, just a tad offline. And now it looks like Brandon Riley will be forced to swing away with the count 1-2. Mickey Gasper heading out to have a conversation with Avadano up in front of the pitcher's mound here. It does seem like they were a little bit out of sync at the beginning of this ball game. Avadano's worked with a number of Brewster catchers in his starts. I remember he had originally his first start of the year, Michael Curry was back there. Then he worked with Coons for a little bit, both as a start and in the relief appearances, and now with Gasper. Here comes the 1-2 offering as Avadano is holding the set. The pitch hit high in the air. Shallow center field. That one's going to be right over the second base bag, it looks like, and coming in to make the catch is the shortstop Graffinino. That was a couple of steps in front of the second base bag. So that's out number 1 on the pop fly here in the bottom of the third. That's just what Avadano needed.
I say that is exactly what you wanted. Either that or a strikeout, because that keeps the runners where they are. Now you have 1 down and the double plays in order, so a ground ball potentially gets you out of this inning. But going back to what you're saying about the catchers, if you look at Avadano's last outing back on July 8th against the Mariners, it was Mickey Gasper behind the plate, who's obviously getting the start at catcher today. Avadano in that game, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, didn't allow a run. Obviously his best outing of the year.
Avadano wheels around and glares at the runner on second base, Ethan Paul, but no throw this time. You mentioned a double play here. Steve Passatempo digging in. The DH for this Orleans club. Not the fastest guy on the roster if you're thinking about whether he can beat it out. Here comes the pitch to the right-handed hitter, and it's hit well out to center field. Racing back is Hunter Bishop. He's heading back, still going back. He makes the catch on the run. Tagging it at second base is Ethan Paul. He's going to head over to third safely. A terrific play by Hunter Bishop to get to that baseball. Had to race from the word go and made the catch almost over his shoulder heading toward the center field wall, and that's the second out.
Well, there's where playing in such a large ballpark actually helps Ryan Avadano there, and helps the Brewster Whitecaps. We've seen balls hit out there that we've talked about in any other ballpark typically are home runs. There, Bishop is given the space to run that one down. You think about in Stony Brook Field or Veterans Field, Red Wilson Field. Granted, anything's out of there, but in most of those ballparks, that's a home run.
Yeah, if we were at Red Wilson Field, it would be 6 or 7-0. Right now, it's 4-0 Orleans. We're in the bottom of the third inning, and now it's the 9-hitter Austin Hale, the catcher, digging in with first and third and 2 men out. Here comes the pitch to the righty, and it is low, gloved by Gasper. And with the speedy Ethan Paul over at third base, got to make sure that Mickey Gasper is able to stay in front of the baseball. 1-0 the count. Here comes the pitch from Avadano. It's hit well out to right field, but it's going to tail foul. So it's 1-1 now as a Nice little piece of, looked like some inside-out hitting there from Austin Hale. Pushes it foul down the right field line. My count 1 ball and 1 strike. It really is kind of a stark contrast of where we've been recently, Aiden. We were at Red Wilson Field a few days ago. This is much more spacious ballpark, especially in center. 1-1 pitch coming to the right-hander. It misses up and away. Makes the count 2 balls and 1 strike. There is action out in the Firebirds bullpen right now as a right-hander is warming. That's J.T. Hinson warming for Orleans. Just taking some soft tosses. Looks like he's pretty geared up out there. Here comes the 2-1 pitch to the righty. It is in there for a called strike on the inside corner. Makes the count 2 balls and 2 strikes as we get the signal from Robert Aquino. So 2-2 the count. Avellano trying to get out of this frame. Just the 1 run in on the homer. But knocking at the door are the Firebirds, first and third with 2 men out. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, he got him. Breaking ball tailing down and away. Looked like a change out of the hand of Ryan Avellano, and he gets strikeout number 3 for him on the ball game. That retires the side in the bottom of the third. Orleans does get 1 run on that home run from Romy Gonzalez to start the frame, but they don't get any more. 1 run on 2 hits and 2 men left on base at the end of 3 innings of play. Orleans hanging on to a 4-0 lead. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Waddell and Aiden Doyle.
Welcome back to Eldridge Park. Firebirds on top of the Whitecaps 4-0 as we move to the top of the 4th inning. It'll be 5, 6, and 7 in the Brewster order due up against the Orleans starter Chandler Day, Nick Dunn, Kyle Datris, and Hunter Bishop. Ready for the Whitecaps. And the first pitch to Nick Dunn, a fastball right on the outer corner for strike 1. Aiden Doyle alongside Carter Waddell. Here on a beautiful night in Orleans, the sun has settled behind Nauset Regional Middle School as this one's hit sharply on the ground in between short and third. Ranging to his right is the shortstop. Gonzalez throw on to first on a hop is knocked down by Nootbaar, but Nick Dunn will reach on the infield single.
Man, that was a terrific play by Gonzalez. Kind of reminds me of what Graffinino did for Brewster a little bit earlier in this ball game. It was a good throw, and you wonder if Nootbaar had been able to handle that cleanly, if he would have been safe. Probably Dunn would have been able to beat that out, but still always good for a manager to see. I'm sure Kelly Nicholson is happy to see that effort from his shortstop.
So the leadoff man, it's Kyle Datris who digs in for the Whitecaps. Right-handed hitting third baseman out of the University of North Carolina. Walked in his first plate appearance before stealing second, his 4th of the season. Righty-righty matchup as Dunn leads off of first. And the first pitch from Day. Fastball in there for strike 1 at the knees. Robert Aquino taking his conventional sweet time, calling that for a strike. Day looking into his catcher, Hale. Now comes set. Kicks and the 0-1. Datris shows bunt, but the pitch misses in the dirt. Good stop there by Hale, and the count evens at 1-1. Datchers, like I mentioned, out of the University of North Carolina, getting on base at a very high clip this season for the Whitecaps. Came into the game with an OBP of 400, and then with the walk in his first plate appearance, obviously that went up. 1-1 the count, and the pitch from Day. Fastball misses down and in, now 2-1 on Datchers.
The fastball's been pretty up and down so far for Chandler Day. We've had times where he's perfectly located on the knees, and then right there, that was pretty much below the strike zone from the get-go. An easy pitch for Datchers to lay off.
Day set. And here's the 2-1. Fastball just misses high and inside. Now 3-1 on Datchers. You got to take your time. Every time that pitch comes into the mid of Hale or Gasper on the other side, if it's close, you got to take a few seconds, make sure you get the call right.
And that was a decent frame from Hale, too. Doesn't help.
3-1 on its way. Fastball misses below the knees. That one, no doubt about it, was a ball. And Kyle Datchers heads on down to first base with his second walk of the ball game. And so now the Whitecaps, with nobody out here in the top of the fourth, have 2 runners aboard for Hunter Bishop.
Yeah, and that's 4 free passes that have been issued by Chandler Day against this Brewster club. I mean, it's deja vu all over again. It's like we're in last night, at least talking about Brewster's offense. A lot of walks, but they haven't been able to get the big hit so far.
Hunter Bishop will look to get the big hit here. Like I mentioned, runners first and second for Brewster. Nobody down here in the top of the fourth. Orleans on top of the Whitecaps 4-0. That fourth run added in the bottom of the third on a Romy Gonzalez home run to right center field. And the first pitch from Day. Fastball right on the outer corner for strike 1 to Bishop. Bishop grounded out to second in his first at-bat. That allowed Kyle Datchers to move to third base. But then Julian Infante struck out to end the top of the second inning. 0-1 count on the left-handed batter. And Day goes right back to the same spot with the fastball, now 0-2 on Bishop.
And when he's able to locate, that pitch has enough life to freeze hitters up.
Wind blowing across the field from the left field foul pole to the right field foul pole here at Eldridge Park. Day comes set, and the 0-2. Fastball misses down and away, now 1-2 on Bishop. Day, the right-handed pitcher out of Vanderbilt. Bishop, left-handed batter out of Arizona State. Day holds the set and deals a 1-2. Fastball misses down and away again. Now the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So after getting ahead 0-2, 2 fastballs to miss down and away to Bishop. Evens the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Day ready, and the pitch. This one lifted high in the air down the left field line, and that one will slice out of play and drop right into Route 28. Just misses, landing in the back of a white pickup truck that is driving southbound.
How'd you like to take us home a souvenir like that, huh?
What would be amazing if it landed in the bed of the pickup truck and stayed in there too, like it didn't carry him out. That would be pretty incredible. Either way, count stays 2-2 on Hunter Bishop. Day looking into his catcher Hale, now comes set. And the 2-2 pitch. Fastball misses high and outside. Count runs full on Bishop.
There's some more action in the Orleans bullpen right now. A new face out there. Brooks Wilson, the righty out of Stetson, is warming up.
Nobody out here in the top of the fourth inning. 4-0 to score. Firebirds on top of the Whitecaps. 2 runners on for Brewster. And a full count on Bishop. And Day's payoff pitch. Fastball just misses on the outside corner, and Bishop will head on down to first base. It's the second consecutive walk given up by Chandler Day, and now the bases are loaded with nobody out, and Julian Infante ready, although Kelly Nicholson will walk out to the mound, and looks like that is going to be it for Chandler Day. He lasts just 3+ innings, doesn't give up a run, although he is responsible for all 3 runners on base here at Eldridge Park. And we'll take a short break as the new Firebirds pitcher comes in. Keep it right here. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wedeel and Aiden Doyle.
It's a pitching change for the Orleans Firebirds here with nobody out in the top of the 4th inning. Brooks Wilson, right-hander out of Stetson University, on to relieve Chandler Day in 5 games so far for Orleans. Wilson has thrown 8 innings, pitched to a 3.38 ERA, has a couple of saves, and struck out 11, so over a strikeout per inning for the right-hander originally from Lakeland, Florida. Let's get you set on the situation here. Bases loaded for Brewster, nobody out, top of the 4th inning. Julian Infante digs in. It's Dunn leading off 3rd, Datris off 2nd, Bishop off of 1st. Righty-righty matchup here, and the first pitch to Infante. Fastball right down the heart of the plate for strike 1.
That's the way you start. I mean, you're talking about Ks. He needs a K right here. That's what he's being brought in to do here with the bases loaded and nobody out.
Infante 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Struck out swinging to end the top of the 2nd inning, stranding Kyle Datris at 3rd base. And Wilson comes set, breaking ball here. Misses down and away, and the count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. Wilson looking into his catcher, Hale. Marty Costas waits on deck for the Whitecaps. 4-0 the score, Orleans on top of Brewster. And the pitch from Wilson. Breaking ball in the dirt, gets away from the catcher, Hale, although not quite far enough to allow Dunn to try and come in and score. So the count now 2-1, and a good job there by Hale just to even get slightly in front of it, just to keep it within reason around the home plate circle and hold Dunn at 3rd. Infante digging back in. Wilson shakes off Hale's first signal. Now gets what he wants and comes set. Kicks and the 2-1. Fastball right on the outer corner, evens the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. So after missing with the breaking ball, Wilson goes right back to the fastball and nails the outer edge.
Yeah, nothing like a well-placed fastball to getting that bat back on track.
So Wilson just 1 strike away from that strikeout. And like you said, Carter, that he's hoping for. 2-2 the count. Wilson holds the set and the pitch. Breaking ball hit on the ground, right back up the middle and into center field. In the score is Nick Dunn. They're going to hold Kyle Datris at 3rd as the throw comes home. And so the bases remain loaded, but Julian Infante with an RBI single to center field, and the Whitecaps are on the board. It's now 4-1 Orleans.
Boy, and how many times has Infante come through in a situation like this season? I mean, that's 7 for him on the year, and it feels like, I mean, the overall numbers for him in terms of his hitting have not been all that great for Brewster so far this season, but he has been the guy that it seems the Whitecaps have counted on to break through in situations like that, just wax it up the middle right when they needed it, and now they've taken a bite out of the deficit.
Now the first pitch to Marty Costas on the way. Fastball misses high and outside for ball 1. Another righty-righty matchup. So you mentioned Wilson coming in trying to get the strikeout, more of a strikeout pitcher. Got ahead in the count, but couldn't quite put Infante away as he roped one right back up the middle for a base hit. 1-0 pitch from Wilson misses downstairs to Costas. Now 2-0 on the left fielder out of Maryland. Wilson looking into his catcher, Hale. 2-0 the count and the pitch. Fastball cut on and fouled straight back over the press box and out of play. Now 2-1 on Costas. One of the more unique features here at Eldridge Park is, like we've talked about, Carter, Route 28 runs right down the side of the 3rd baseline, just beyond the Whitecaps dugout or the visitors dugout. So there are oftentimes some fans who drive by yelling out things, go Birds, go Caps. There just had a rowdy school bus as a breaking ball fouled off by Costas back into the netting. Evens the count at 2-2. Really only on the Cape do you have something like that where you can just...
I'm just wondering what they're using the school bus for here on July 15th.
And they didn't look like school children
at 8:30.
8:30 at night, and a bunch of, we'll say, elder teenagers, early 20s kids drive by as a fastball from Wilson fouled off once again by Costas. So the left fielder stays alive, and the count remains 2-2. Never know what you're going to see here at a Cape League game.
Yeah, this is a big spot for Brewster right here. Infante able to get that single, but you know they want to keep capitalizing, keep the line moving.
2-2 on its way. Breaking ball. Costas lays off it as it just misses down and away, and the count runs full. And we talked with Coach Shevchik before the game about structuring the lineup. He said a guy like Marty Costas in a ballpark like this with one swing of the bat can put one into the netting out in left field. And here with a short left field porch, that's a home run. Payoff pitch from Wilson on its way. This one driven deep to left center field. Going back is Herron, but it will stay in the ballpark. He camps underneath it and puts it away. Tagging from third is Kyle Datras. The throw goes to the cutoff man, the shortstop Gonzalez, and Datras into score. So Costas gave it a ride, but it goes as just allowed out. But it brings home the second run of the game for the Whitecaps, and now it's 4-2. So the deficit here in the fourth inning cut in half.
Yeah, you'll take that. I mean, obviously, Costas would have liked to redirect that over toward the short porch instead of the deep area in center field, but he's able to get the hit that brings in the run. And now I think for Brewster, when you load the bases with nobody out, you always want to be coming away with more than one run. And Brewster is able to come in and say they were able to get two. They've cut the deficit in half. This is the way you come back and win ball games. There's no, 5-run homer. You just got to take little bites out of a lead, and here comes Graffinino, who I'm sure is hungry to get a base hit in this situation.
And now it's back to the top of the order for Brewster. One out. Runners on the corners for the Whitecaps on the first pitch to Graffinino. A fastball that misses high for ball one. Bishop leads off of third, Infante off of first. One down here in the top of the fourth inning. 4-2 the score. Orleans on top of Brewster. Graffinino today 0 for 2. Now looks at a fastball from Wilson that misses inside. Now 2-0 on the shortstop out of Washington.
Graffinino certainly, after that all-star snub we were talking about at the beginning of this game, would love to have a RBI hit here.
And the 2-0 on its way. Fastball misses down and in. Now 3-0 on Graffinino. And while he'd love to have a hit, I'm sure he'll take a walk as well to load the bases for Chandler Taylor, who waits on deck for Brewster. A guy who, as everyone knows, can certainly change the game with one swing. 3-0 the count. Wilson comes set. And the pitch. Fastball in there for a strike. Graffinino taking all the way, and the count is now 3-1. Wilson looking into his catcher, Hale. Infante leading off of first. 3-1 pitch. This one roped right towards first base. Backhanded stab there by Nootbaar. Throwing a second in time. Throw back to first. In time for the double play. It goes 3-6-3. Graffinino hit it about 105 miles an hour over there to first base, but has nothing to show for it, as a big double play for the Firebirds gets them out of the inning. But the Whitecaps cut the deficit in half. They get one run on a Julian Infante single, and the other on a Marty Costas sac fly. It's now 4-2 after 3.5 innings here at Eldridge Park. Ryan Avadano back out on the mound for the Whitecaps. We'll be back with the bottom of the fourth inning right after this. You're listening to the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wedeel and Aiden Doyle.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute care hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care. Back here in the bottom of the 4th inning, Firebirds lead the Whitecaps 4-2. It's the top of the Orleans order, due up against Ryan Avedano. And the first pitch, a breaking ball to Jimmy Herron in there for strike 1. Avedano into his 4th inning of work here at Eldridge Park. Another 0-1 breaking ball. Just misses inside to Herron, and the count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. Avedano through the windup and the 1-1 pitch. Fastball in at the knees, now 1-2 on Herron. Herron today has been a thorn in the side of the Whitecaps. He's 2 for 2, singled in the 1st and the 2nd innings. Came around to score the first run of the ball game in the 1st inning. As Avedano goes to the breaking ball, this one chopped down the 3rd baseline, foul. So Herron stays alive. Looks like there's action in the Whitecaps bullpen, and it's Joe Demers, the right-hander out of the University of Washington, warming up. It's been a while since we've seen Demers. 1-2 the count. Avedano looking into his catcher, Gasper. And the pitch. Fastball misses well high, right about eye level there to Herron, and the count evens at 2. Avedano looking into Gasper. Gets what he wants, and the 2-2 pitch. Fastball chopped foul right into the Firebirds dugout, off of the hand of one of the Firebirds, and over now the dugout into the netting.
You gotta have better hands than that, right?
You know, that's one of my favorite things, is when you look at a foul ball down one of the baselines, is seeing how well not only the base coaches do at fielding them, but also the ball boys and girls, the whether an umpire, if it's foul, picks it up, tosses it to a fan. You go to a ball game, you got to be able to bring these ones down. Granted, I'm not one to talk, because when we were in Harwich, I dropped my only chance at a foul ball.
Yep, you sure did.
As Avedano steps off the mound. Now toes the rubber once again, and the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball, this one fouled off behind home plate. Gasper gives it a look, but that one will drop out of play. So Herron doing a good job staying alive here against the lefty out of Georgia.
I think at this ballpark, maybe more than any other here on the Cape, we have the best scene of the kids scrambling for foul balls. Not a lot of bleachers here, I mean, hardly any. Plenty of space to run around in.
2-2 the count to Herron, and the pitch from Avedano. Fastball misses high above the letters, and the count runs full.
And you're right that we've been waiting to see Joe Demers for a while. We kind of haven't seen a situation for him to be called upon. The starters have been able to go deep, or the games have been able to be close. A lot of times he's been used in situations, you know, sort of like this, where you just need a guy to come in and eat up some innings.
Payoff pitch to Herron, fouled off down the right field line, and that one will drop out of play. It's been exactly a week since we've seen Demers, back on July 8th, when he actually relieved Ryan Avedano at White House Field in Harwich. Demers that appearance went 2 innings, allowed 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and struck out 2.
That was a good day for the Brewster pitchers.
That it was. And Ryan Avedano threw the windup, payoff pitch. This one lifted in the air. This one in play. Nick Dunn into shallow right field, and that one will drop. It thought Chandler Taylor was calling him off, but that one drops behind the head of Julian Infante and into shallow right field. Just a miscommunication there between Dunn, Infante, and Taylor, and that is not what you want to see to start off an inning if you're Jamie Shevchik.
Yeah, it looked pretty clear to me from over here, but Taylor just lost that one in the lights. But I thought that Dunn was going to be able to get under it because he had plenty of time, and it just sort of dropped out towards straightaway right field. Looked like Infante must have lost that one too, or he would have been able to go and grab it. Lights are on, sun is down, and that's a tough break for the Whitecaps.
So a leadoff double for Jimmy Herron, as Nick Dunn kind of threw up his hands like saying, I don't know where that is, and at the last second wasn't in time for Taylor to come in and grab it, or Infante. And the first pitch to Lars Nootbaar fouled off behind home plate for strike 1.
And I hesitate to say it because obviously a miscommunication is probably more likely, but I think all 3 of those players lost that ball. I think Infante, Dunn, and Taylor. For whatever reason, that was just a hard-to-track baseball on the lights.
0-1 the count. Avedano holds the set and the pitch. Goes to a breaking ball that just misses off the plate, and the count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. Nootbaar today 0 for 2, grounded back to Avedano in his first at-bat, and then flew out to left in the second. 1-1 count. Avedano kicks and delivers. This one lined out towards center field right at Hunter Bishop, and he's right there to make the play, so Nootbaar squared it up, but drove it right towards the Brewster center fielder for out number 1.
Yeah, Hunter Bishop has had a great day turning hard-hit baseballs into outs so far, and this is a ballpark that's good to do that. I'm sure it's a blast for him running around in center field, but that one obviously didn't take a ton of defensive effort. It was hit straight at him, but we've seen a couple of plays where they've hit the ball right on the screws, have the Firebirds, only to just hit it into Bishop's glove.
Now it's Nico Decolati, right fielder for Orleans, digging in. Decolati, one of today's 8 Firebirds who found out that they were going to the Cape League All-Star Game, which is a week from today at Spillane Field. First pitch from Avedano, a fastball right on the outer corner for strike 1. Decolati today 0 for 1, did reach on a walk in his first plate appearance, then stole second, reached third on a pass ball, and eventually made his way home for the second run of the ball game for Orleans. 0-1 the count here, and the pitch from Avedano. Breaking ball in the dirt, good stop by Gasper, and the count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. Decolati, the number 3 hitter in this Orleans lineup, and the guy waiting on deck for the Firebirds is not someone Ryan Avedano wants to face, Romy Gonzalez, who took him deep in his last at-bat. 1-1 the count. And the pitch, runner goes. Breaking ball misses downstairs, no throw from Gasper. And Jimmy Herron swipes third. It's his second stolen base of the game, and his 10th of the season for the Firebirds. So the count now 2-1 on Decolati. Run just 90 feet away for Orleans as Brewster brings the infield in here at Eldridge Park. Avedano set and the pitch. Fastball fouled off right towards the Firebirds dugout, and the count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I'll tell you what, Jimmy Herron has had a field day running on Brewster here at Eldridge Park. I mean, the last time we were here, back on July 2nd, he also had a pair of stolen bases. That was with Davis Daniel on the mound for Brewster.
Herron certainly a speedster on the top of that Orleans lineup. He's 3 for 3 on the day, so not only wreaking havoc on the base paths when he gets there, but getting there pretty often. 2-2 the count and the pitch. Fastball misses above the letters, and the count now full on Nico Decolati.
And that's a big stolen base because now the infield is in for Brewster. Now he can get in without necessarily getting a base hit.
Avedano looking into Gasper. Infield still in for the Whitecaps. And the payoff pitch. Breaking ball chopped towards second, fielded on a hop by Dunn. Looks a runner back at third, throwing to first in time for out number 2. So a big play there for the Whitecaps as they get the second out and keep Jimmy Herron at third base. And now there's 2 down here in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, if that had been hit just a little bit harder, it would have been a really tough play for Nick Dunn, but it kind of just got whacked into the dirt, took all the air out of it, and Dunn was able to field it pretty cleanly, and as you said, Aiden, just stare down the runner at third to keep him at bay.
4-2 the score. Firebirds on top of the Whitecaps. 2 down here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Romy Gonzalez digs in. He's 1 for 2. Actually, 1 for 1. The first one was a sacrifice fly. As first pitch, a breaking ball from Ryan Avedano in there for strike 1 at the knees. Sacrifice fly was just absolutely crushed out to center field here at Eldridge Park, but it is 434 to dead center here in Orleans. Hunter Bishop made a great play running it down, and then his second at-bat just tattooed a ball out towards right center for a home run. 0-1 breaking ball from Avedano. This one misses down and away. Count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. Gonzalez came into the game with 2 home runs on the year. That was his 3rd added to his total. Now he has 11 RBI on the season. also a participant in this year's Cape League Home Run Derby. 1-1 on its way. Fastball chased up high, now count 1-2. Avadano just blew it right past him there. Got him to chase one up and out of the zone. So Ryan Avadano just one strike away from getting out of the bottom of the fourth with a scoreless 0 up there on the scoreboard. Avadano looking into Gasper. Now gets what he wants and comes set. Kicks and the 1-2. Breaking ball laid off in the dirt. Good stop there by Mickey Gasper, and the count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I think that's a pretty good pitch there from Avadano. That one looked like it fell off the table pretty quickly. A good job to lay that one off by Gonzalez. Now the question is, where do you go with the count now even 2-2?
Well, we're about to find out as Avadano comes set, and the 2-2. Breaking ball line down the right field line, but slicing out of play. That one drops foul. So Gonzalez stays alive, and the count remains 2-2.
That was an even better breaking ball, and Gonzalez was able to put an inside-out swing on it to just foul it away. It's a good battle brewing here, and a big spot in this game.
Big spot indeed. 2s across the board. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 4-2 the score. Orleans on top of Brewster. Runner on third for the Firebirds, and the pitch. Fastball just misses below the knees. Mickey Gasper held the mid up there for a few seconds trying to get the call from Robert and Kino. But the count goes full on Roby Gonzalez. Certainly one that Ryan Avadano wanted there. Full count, 2 outs, and the payoff pitch. Breaking ball lifted high in the air, deep to left field. Going back is Marty Costas, battling the lights, and he puts it away for out number 3. So Gonzalez hit it very high and pretty far, but not quite far enough for the 3rd out of the inning. So the Firebirds get a runner to 3rd, but then go down in order after that. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on. We've played 4 here at Eldridge Park in Orleans. Firebirds still on top of the Whitecaps, 4-2. 2-3-4 due up for the Brewster Whitecaps here in the top of the 5th inning. Chandler Taylor leading things off. 4-2 the score. Firebirds on top of the Whitecaps here at Eldridge Park. Aiden Doyle alongside Carter Waddell. Taylor, Gasper, and Curry due up for the Whitecaps. Brooks Wilson still on the mound for the Firebirds, and his first pitch. Fastball just misses off the plate for ball 1. Taylor today 0 for 1. Struck out in his first at-bat, but then reached on a walk, and he lines this one hard right towards the second baseman, Paul. But he puts it away for out number 1. Taylor really hit that one right on the sweet spot, but right on the line and right at Ethan Paul.
Tell you what, that's one for the baseball card there. A very photogenic play, jumping straight up to make the grab right at eye level. Nicely done by Paul.
Now the Brewster number 3 hitter Mickey Gasper digs in. 0 for 1 on his day. Reached on a walk in his first plate appearance before striking out in the 3rd. And the first pitch from Wilson, a fastball, misses up and in for ball 1. Gasper, like we've talked about, Carter, one of 3 Brewster All-Stars that were selected earlier today. as this one's roped right back up the middle and into center field for a base hit. Mickey Gasper with a hard hit single almost took the hand off of Brooks Wilson. And the Whitecaps have a man aboard here with one down in the top of the fifth.
Yeah, that sure was a bullet, wasn't it? Want to get you set. The runs that scored in the fourth inning were charged to Chandler Days. So his final line, 3 innings plus, 2 hits allowed, 2 runs, both earned, 4 walks, and 3 strikeouts for the Firebird starter.
Now Michael Curry, designated hitter out of the University of Georgia, digs in. So for 2 on his day with a couple of pop-ups. First pitch from Wilson on its way. Breaking ball in there for strike 1. Gasper leading off of first base. Wilson comes set. And the 0-1, excuse me. A fastball that just misses off the plate, evens the count at 1-1. Brewster in their teal uniforms tonight. As Curry breaks his bat on a breaking ball. That one looks almost entirely intact, but just, you can see it from our vantage point, just a few little slivers of that bat kind of broke off, and he just looked at it like, you got to be kidding me. Like,
yeah, that was, I've never seen that before, where someone breaks the bat on a foul back to the screen, and Curry did have a look saying, like, oh, man, it made him kind of look like he really liked that bat or whatever it was. Like, oh, man, I got to go back to the dugout. It just kind of took a bite out of it.
Listen, I mean, you got to look at it and think, I could probably still use this. I mean, those things couldn't have been more than an inch, 2 inches, and there are 2 or 3 of them. It wasn't like one of these ones where you can clearly tell that it cracked or, just snapped in half and a big chunk goes flying out onto the field. Now that one barely. It almost a chip off the old bat. 1-2 the count as Brooks Wilson comes set. And the pitch. Breaking ball lifted in the air in the infield. It's the shortstop Gonzalez and the second baseman Paul converging, and it's Gonzalez who eventually calls him off and puts it away for out number 2. So Curry drops to 0 for 3 on the day with 3 pop-ups.
Yeah, quite the day for him at the plate. He's been jammed all 3 times. Just hasn't quite been able to see the baseball very well.
That'll bring up Nick Dunn with 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Dunn 1 for 2 on the day. Singled in his last at-bat in the 4th inning and would come around to score the first Brewster run of the ball game. Wilson comes set, and his first pitch. Fastball right down the heart of the plate for strike 1. Kyle Datris waits on deck for the Whitecaps. He's reached on a couple of walks today and scored a run. 0-1 the count, and the pitch. Breaking ball in there, strike 2, so Nick Dunn quickly falls behind, no balls and 2 strikes. As Wilson looks over at Gasper at first, but fires home, and the 0-2 misses in the dirt for ball 1. One and 2 the count, 2 outs, top of the 5th inning. And the pitch from Brooks Wilson, hit on the ground towards first. Tough hop there for Nootbaar, but he makes the play and takes it to the bag himself for out number 3. Another scoreless inning for the Brewster Whitecaps. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on. We've played 4.5 here at Eldridge Park in Orleans. Firebirds still lead the Whitecaps 4-2. You're listening to the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wedeel and Aiden Doyle.
Pitching change for the Whitecaps as we move to the bottom of the 5th inning. Ryan Avadano's day is done as Joe Demers, the right-hander out of the University of Washington, takes over on the bump for the Whitecaps. He'll face 5, 6, and 7 in the Firebirds order. Ethan Paul leading things off for Orleans. 4-2 the score here at Eldridge Park. Orleans on top of Brewster. On just an absolutely gorgeous night on the Lower Cape. Left-handed hitting Paul digs in against Demers. Right-handed pitcher, and his first pitch. Fastball just misses inside for ball 1. Demers so far this season has appeared in 6 games and pitched to a 1.93 ERA in 9 1/3. As this one's chopped foul down the first base line. Struck out 9, so just about a strikeout per inning. Has allowed 12 hits, but only walked 3. One and one the count on Ethan Paul. Another one of those 8 Firebirds selected to the Eastern Division All-Star team. And the 1-1 on its way. This one lifted in the air right over our heads and out of play, so the count moves to 1-2. Paul, the second baseman out of Vanderbilt. Teammates with Brewster first baseman Julian Infante. And now Demers will signal for Mickey Gasper to jog out to the mound and talk over those signs.
Yeah, important to be on the same page here. I think this is a big outing here for Joe Demers. He's one of those guys. Paulie Milto could be counted in as kind of his compatriot in terms of being kind of a long relief guy that's there to eat up some innings. Of course, now Milto might be a starter for the rest of the season after the terrific outing he had in yesterday's ball game.
As now Gasper retreats back to behind home plate, and the breaking ball from Demers misses outside. Now 2-2 the count.
But I think it's important here for him. I'm sure he knows how important it is to put up zeros and however many innings he is able to go in today. Because Brewster could come back and win this, and if they did, it would be a big win for this club.
2-2 on its way, and this one lifted foul out of play over Route 28 behind our heads. So Paul does a good job staying alive. So a battle of the bullpens here in Orleans as Ryan Avadano's done, and now Joe Demers, like we mentioned, taking over as the 2-2 fouled off down the third base line out of play by Paul, so a good job staying alive. And then on the other hand, Chandler Day just lasting 3+ innings, so neither starter going more than 4, and it'll be up to the Pens to take each team the rest of the way.
You have a line on Avadano, 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 runs, only 2 of them were earned runs, 3 walks and 3 Ks.
Fastball in there, strike 3 from Joe Demers. Ethan Paul down looking. He's retired for the first time today, and there's a 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th.
That's just what you need from Joe Demers, to try and be efficient, try and use that fastball. He set it up with that big looping breaking ball and able to freeze up Paul by running the heat in on the next pitch. That's good pitch selection there from Demers.
And now Jax Groshans, right-handed hitting third baseman for Orleans, digs in. Another guy who's 2 for 2 in this Firebirds lineup. And the first pitch from Demers, fastball chopped right in front of home plate, but Karam's foul, and now count now 0-1. Groshans hails from the University of Kansas, originally from Magnolia, Texas. Decided to cross the Red River, go through Oklahoma, and make his way to Lawrence to be one of the Jayhawks. Teammate with Whitecaps outfielder Devin Foyle. As the 0-1's lifted high in the air, this one will stay in the infield. It's the second baseman Dunn calling off Graffinino. Just to the right of second baseman, or of second base, he puts it away for out number 2.
And I tell you what, I think Joe Demers got a little bit lucky there. He hung that breaking ball up in the zone. Joe Groshans just got a little bit underneath that baseball, forced him to pop up, but that was not a good pitch from Demers.
And now Brandon Riley, the left fielder for Orleans, digging in. Left-handed batter out of the University of North Carolina. Riley today 0 for 2, reached on an error in his first at-bat, as he looks at a first pitch fastball from Demers that just misses inside for ball 1. Demers signaling to Gasper, run through the signs again. Now he gets what he wants, as this one hit on the ground towards first. Backhanded stab by Infante, flips to a covering Demers, who puts it away for out number 3. So a 1-2-3 inning for Joe Demers in relief. He holds the Firebirds scoreless, no runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. We've played 5 here in Orleans. Firebirds still lead the Whitecaps 4-2. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps baseball on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Waddell and Aiden Doyle.
6, 7, 8 due up for the Whitecaps in the top of the 6th inning. It's Kyle Datris leading things off. 4-2 the score. Firebirds on top of the Whitecaps. As we move to the top of the 6th, Aiden Doyle alongside Carter Waddell. And the first pitch from Brooks Wilson. A fastball just misses down and in for ball 1. Datris today has reached base both plate appearances via the walk. Came around the score in his second. Also has a stolen base on the day. As he looks at a fastball, misses high above the letters, now 2-0 on Datris, so he's halfway to his third walk. Righty-righty matchup, and the 2-0. Fastball just misses high, and now it's 3-0 on the third baseman out of the University of North Carolina. Wilson looking into his catcher, Hale. Now through the windup and the 3-0. Fastball in there for a strike. Datris was taking all the way. And now the count 3-1. Wilson through the windup. 3-1 lifted high in the air, right side of the infield. It's the first baseman, Newtmar, drifting into foul territory. And he puts it away just to the right of first base for out number 1. So there will be no third consecutive walk for Kyle Datris.
Is it just me, or have we seen a lot of pop flies in this ball game? We saw the one that got lost over in right field. That is, by my count, the 4th time that a Whitecap has popped out in this ball game. Of course, the first 3 were from Michael Curry. And then on the other side, we've seen at least 2 from Orleans in this ball game. So at the very least, we've seen 6 pop flies here in the 6th inning.
First pitch to Hunter Bishop, misses downstairs for ball 1. Bishop on his day, 0 for 1, reached on a walk in the 4th inning as he lifts this one high in the air, right back behind us. And the count evens at 1-1. I know we've talked about this, Carter, but on the other side of Route 28, there are people's homes. So people live there behind those trees. A lot of foul balls. You wake up one morning and it's like snow on your ground. As 1-1 from Wilson, catches the inside corner and the count moves to 1-2. 4-2 the score here at Eldridge Park as a breaking ball from Wilson fouled back right off of telephone pole, and it caroms over the street and out of play. So the count stays at 1-2. Whitecaps, or excuse me, the Firebirds got 3 runs in the first inning, then added their 4th in the 3rd. As the 1-2 from Wilson misses down and away, count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes to Hunter Bishop. Whitecaps got both of their runs in the 4th inning, one on a Julian Infante single, the other on a Marty Costas sac fly, as Bishop drives this one deep to right center field. Moving to his left is the center fielder Heron, and he runs it down for out number 2.
I guess you could say Bishop was getting a little taste of his own medicine there. He's been running baseballs down in center field all night, and that time he puts a drive into it and doesn't have anything to show for it.
And now Julian Infante, who, like I mentioned, had the RBI single back in the 4th inning, digs in. He's 1 for 2 on the day. 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning. Brooks Wilson still on the mound for the Firebirds, and the pitch. Infante shows bunt, but takes it back as the fastball from Wilson catches the inside corner for strike 1. Wilson looking into his catcher, Hale. Now works through the windup and the 0-1. Breaking ball hit sharply on the ground, backhanded there by Grosjean's long throw onto first base, low throw, but Nootbaar is able to grab it for out number 3. So the Whitecaps go down in order, and after 5.5, Orleans still leads Brewster 4-2 here at Eldridge Park. You're listening to the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wedeel and Aiden Doyle.
Bottom of the 6th inning here at Eldridge Park. Firebirds still lead the Whitecaps 4-2. Joe Demers on the mound for the Whitecaps going into his 2nd inning of relief. Aiden Doyle alongside Carter Wedeel here on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network. It'll be 8-9-1 for the Firebirds due up here in the bottom of the 6th. Steve Passatempo, Austin Hale, and Jimmy Heron. Passatempo, the Orleans DH, 0 for 2 on the day. And the first pitch from Joe Demers. Fastball right on the outside corner there for strike 1. And Demers ahead in the count, no balls, 2 strike, or no balls, 1 strike. Righty-righty matchup, and the pitch. Goes to the off-speed stuff there and finds the zone, so now Demers quickly ahead 0-2. Demers looking into his catcher, Gasper. Now through the windup and the 0-2 pitch. Fastball just misses high and outside, and the count moves to 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes on Steve Passatempo, and the pitch from Demers. Fastball misses down and away. Count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes. Demers through the windup and is 2-2. Breaking ball chopped foul. Good job there by Passatempo just to get a piece of it and stay alive. Demers came on for the bottom of the 5th inning and worked a scoreless 5th inning. Picked up a strikeout of Ethan Paul. So it looks like there is some action in the Firebirds bullpen. Looks like it's Jake Wong, the right-hander out of Grand Canyon, warming up. As the 2-2 from Demir's fastball misses high, and the count runs full on Passatempo. Demir through the windup and the payoff pitch. Fastball cut on and missed. Passatempo chased that one downstairs, and Joe Demers picks up his second strikeout, and there's one down here in the bottom of the sixth.
Yeah, they've both come on the fastball. So far, Demers is doing his job. He's getting ahead in counts. He's staying efficient, and he's 4 for 4 retiring the hitters that he's faced. It's just what Brewster needs. They're still in this ball game. I know since Orleans jumped out quickly and took that 4-0 lead, it feels like they're climbing a bit of a mountain, but it's 2 runs. They're a bloop and a blast away.
Breaking ball from Demers in for strike one to Austin Hale, the Orleans catcher and number 9 hitter. He's 0 for 2 on today, has a strikeout looking and a strikeout swinging. And the pitch from Demers on its way. Goes back to the breaking ball. This one misses down and away. And the count evens at 1. Demers gets what he wants and the 1-1. Fastball paints the outer black, and the right-hander out of Washington ahead 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes on the Orleans number 9 hitter. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. And the pitch, fastball, fouled back into the netting. Good job by Hale there, staying alive. And we'll do it again. Another righty-righty matchup. The leadoff man, Jimmy Herron, waits on deck for the Firebirds. And the pitch, fastball cut on and missed. Demers got him to chase a fastball high. So Austin Hale strikes out for the 3rd time today. And there's 2 down here in the bottom of the 6th.
The heater's really working for Joe Demers, and I think it's working largely because he's been able to set it up with his breaking pitches. His command so far has been very good since he's entered this game. He doesn't look like he's pitching with a week of rest. He looks like he's coming in. He's very comfortable.
And that comfort will be put to the test here as Jimmy Herron steps in. He's 3 for 3 on the day. And first pitch swinging, chops one right back up the middle. Ranging to his left is A.J. Graffinino, and he'll be unable to make the transfer and make the throw. So Jimmy Herron reaches for the 4th time in the ball game. And now the Firebirds have a man aboard with 2 down, and it looks like that's going to go as an infield single.
Yeah, it's the 2nd infield hit that he's got in this game, and both of them, if I remember correctly, were ground balls to Graffinino. When he was the first one, forced him to move in the opposite direction, moved over to his right to try and backhand the thing, and wound up making a throw from his knees that wasn't in time, and that time had to make, Graffinino's got very quick hands, but he needed his hands to be even quicker than they are to make that play. A couple of good pieces of effort for Graffinino, and appropriately both scored hits.
First pitch now to Lars Nootbaar, the Orleans number 2 hitter. Misses off the plate for ball 1. Nootbaar today 0 for 3. Grounded out in his first at-bat, then had a couple of flyouts in the 2nd and 4th innings. Man aboard here for Orleans, and the pitch from Demers. This one lifted in the air down the left field line, but slicing foul and out of play as it drops in front of a Toyota Sienna on Route 28.
We've seen a couple of cars just have to slam on the brakes because of foul balls. I know one was kind of squeaking when one went over there, announced its presence.
Demers working from the stretch. Count even at 1-1. Jimmy Herron leads off of first base. And the pitch, runner goes. Fastball hit on the ground towards third, fielded over there by Datris, throw onto first, in time for out number 3. And the Whitecaps hold the Firebirds scoreless in the bottom of the 6th inning. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on. 6 full in the books here at Eldridge Park. Orleans still on top of the Whitecaps 4-2. Keep it right here. You're listening to the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wedeel and Aiden Doyle. Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom as embedded in all that they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development, all online at www.curry.edu. Welcome you back to Eldridge Park. We're getting ready to begin the top of the 7th inning. For Brewster, Marty Costas will lead things off, and then it's back to the top of the Whitecaps order with A.J. Graffinino and Chandler Taylor. Brewster is working their way back from a 4-2 deficit. Was originally 4-0 in favor of the Firebirds. They scored a 3 spot in the first inning with a pair of unearned runs in that frame, and then a solo shot from Romy Gonzalez, his 3rd of the year, made it 4-0. Brewster bounced back with a couple of runs in the top of the 4th, a single from Infante, and a sac fly from Costas in a deep center field. Accounted for the pair of runs that Brewster scored in that frame. So that's where we stand. It's 4-2 Whitecaps as we start the top of the 7th, and here comes Costas against a new pitcher for the Orleans Firebirds, and he takes a fastball in there for a strike from Jake Wong. Wong, the righty out of Grand Canyon University. This is the 3rd time that he's come in to face the Whitecaps this season. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. It is in there for a strike at the knees on the inside corner. Wong's been pretty heavily used by Kelly Nicholson this year. This is his 10th appearance. So far has a 4.38 ERA and 12 1/3 innings pitched. Give up 11 hits with 3 walks and 15 strikeouts to his credit. 0-2 the count on Marty Costas. Here comes the pitch from the right-hander. And it's just outside on a fastball to make the count 1-2. Wong out of Grand Canyon University. Has a pretty deliberate windup when he's up there at the plate. Almost comes to a stop. Here comes the 1-2 pitch, and it's low. That one skimmed across the dirt. Wong's out pitch is his slider. Relies on the late movement of that pitch to get hitters to swing and miss. Wonder if he'll go to it here with the count 2-2. Here comes the pitch. It's hit hard on the ground to shortstop. Charging and fielding it is Gonzalez. He throws over to first in time for the out. So it's a 6-3 putout to start off the day for Jake Wong, and there's one gone in the top of the 7th. And here comes A.J. Graffinino for the Brewster Whitecaps. Graffinino, the leadoff man for Brewster. Fresh off what Coach Jamie Shevchik called an all-star snub. The all-star teams, of course, announced earlier today, and Graffinino just missing the cut. 3 Whitecaps were selected. Gasper, Curry, and Robert Broom are on the team. So far today, Graffinino has a ground ball, then reached on a fielder's choice, and then hit a hard one, a ground ball toward the first baseman that wound up being a nicely turned double play. The pitch is outside to make the count 1-0. That was on a fastball, and that was in that 4th inning when Brewster was still threatening, and a terrific play by the first baseman, Newbar, to backhanded on that play off the bat of Graffinino. 1-0 pitch again is low. So Wong might need to elevate the fastball a little bit more here as it, again, skims in the dirt. Count 2 balls and no strikes on A.J. Graffinino, who nods to home plate up Robert Aquino as he digs back in. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. Fastball in there for a called strike 1. The count 2 balls and 1 strike on the Washington Husky. Lights are well and truly on here at Eldridge Park. It is nighttime here, 9:15 on the East Coast, in a game that started at 7 o'clock. 2-1 pitch on the way. It's hit high in the air, foul ground over Route 28 on the left side. And so the count now even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. This, of course, the 50th year of, shall we say, the current iteration of Eldridge Park. They had a nice 50th anniversary ceremony back on the 4th of July to celebrate the reopening of the ballpark. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. It misses down and in to make it 3-2 now on Graffinino. It's 4-2 Orleans as we stand here in the top of the 7th. Ballpark was originally opened back in 1967, reopened. It was originally commissioned all the way back in the 1910s. 3-2 pitches fouled back to the screen. And then it was redone for Cape League Baseball. The most famous change, of course, was changing the entire, they rotated the entire field. Originally, home plate was where the left field foul pole is now, and they moved it to its current location. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. Hit on the ground to first base. Newbar will field it. A tough hop, and he picks it up, throws to a covering Jake Wong, and he retires A.J. Graffinino. That one kicked right off the lip of the infield grass, and a nice job to adjust by Newbar. Wong was covering, so Graffinino again hits a ball on the ground and is retired. That's out number 2.
Whitecaps offense just having trouble getting going today against the Firebirds. They had 2 runs come across in the 4th inning, but haven't gotten a hit since Mickey Gasper back on the 5th inning. This has been a problem for this team. They're not walking a whole lot tonight. They have just 1, 2, 3. They have 4 walks, but 2 of them came in the same inning, and all 4 of them came in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th innings. But since then, just not been able to get anything going.
So here is the slugging lefty Chandler Taylor. The pitch is a breaking ball in there for a strike. You wonder if Taylor, when we were talking to Jamie Shevchik before this ball game, he was talking about the game in Chatham a couple of nights ago. That was a win for Brewster. 8-3 or 9-3 was the final for the Whitecaps, as the pitch misses down and in on a breaking ball to make it 1-1. 4-2 Orleans on top in the top of the 7th. And what Jamie Shevchik said was it was the home run from Taylor that he hit that sparked the rest of the offense to get going in the ball game. 1-1 pitch cut on and missed. Nicely done to fool Chandler Taylor on that one from Wong on the count 1-2. So Jamie Shevchik looking for some sort of spark from either him or Costas, whom he specifically put in a lineup for that purpose. But so far, other than the pair of runs Brewster scraped across in the 4th, they haven't been able to do that. Here comes the pitch to Taylor, and it misses low. That one squirted away from the catcher Hale. So 2 balls and 2 strikes now the count on Chandler Taylor. Nobody on, and 2 men out here in the top of the 7th inning on what's become a kind of a cooler night here in Orleans for the folks sitting on the hill. A lot of them have some blankets or some sweaters on. Here comes the 2-2 offering. And it's low. Nice job by Chandler Taylor to lay off on that breaking pitch. That was that slider that Wong likes to depend on, and it did from here look like it had some pretty decent late movement. But Taylor showing off his eye, and the count is full, 3-2. Here comes the payoff pitch. Fastball hit high in the air out to left field. Moving back is the left fielder Riley. He's back to the track. He's toward the wall, and he makes the catch. Backed almost to the left field wall, then came in a couple of steps and made the grab to retire the side. So Chandler Taylor put a charge into it, but will not have anything to show for it. It's a 1-2-3, top of the 7th inning for Brewster. It's time to stretch here at Eldridge Park in Orleans. The home team is up 4-2. Firebirds ahead. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Wedeel and Aiden Doyle. Back at Eldridge Park, we're starting the bottom of the 7th inning, and it's 3, 4, and 5 due up for Orleans, starting with the righty Nico Decolati, and he bunts the first pitch down the third base line. It stays fair, charging his Datris, but he's just going to take a bite out of it. It's a bunt single for Nico Decolati, who was on for the 2nd time in this ball game. Nice way to start off the inning for Kelly Nicholson's club. And Decolati, who has 1 out of 2 coming into this game stealing bases, has 1 earlier in the 1st inning, is aboard first base now with nobody out.
Well, Decolati being the number 3 hitter in this Orleans lineup, not exactly the guy you would expect to bunt, but does a good job recognizing that Datchers is playing back at 3rd and just drops the first pitch he sees down the third base line. That's just some heads-up baseball, and knows he can get one down and reach first.
Firebirds lead 4-2 here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Romy Gonzalez hits a high chopper in front of the catcher Gasper. He runs over to field it and throws to first base in time for the out. Nice decisive action there from Gasper. Didn't allow Demers to come in and try to field that one himself. He ran out, grabbed, didn't even remove the mask, and fired it over to the first baseman Infante for the out. Advancing to second on the play is Decolati.
Yeah, if nothing else, you know you're going to get stuff like that out of Mickey Gasper, the ability to take charge, recognize his role as the catcher on the team, and make the right decision on a play like that. That would have been very tough for Demers to charge in, plant, and then try and make the accurate throw to first. Much easier for Gasper moving forward.
So now it's Ethan Paul's turn, and a lefty hits one high and foul down the left side onto the road. Makes the count 0-1 on Ethan Paul. Decolati, the leadoff runner, aboard at second. It's the 4th time in the 7 innings that Orleans has batted tonight that they've been able to put the leadoff runner on base. Paul so far today, sticking to the 3 true outcomes. 2 walks in the first inning and the 3rd, and then took a fastball for strike 3 from Joe Demers. That was the first hitter that Demers faced. Here comes the 0-1. It misses inside, so Demers starting his 2nd trip through the lineup here with Paul. So far for Demers, it's been terrific. Just 2 hits allowed, and both of them were infield hits. 1-1 the count. Demers holding the set, checks the runner at second and deals. It's a high chopper foul right side. It hops over the Orleans dugout. And so Demers once again ahead in the count 1-2. Demers has done an excellent job so far in this game of getting ahead in counts and being able to kind of stick to his game plan on the pitcher's mound. So he takes a deep breath and readies for the 1-2 pitch. He holds the set, checks the runner. Here comes the pitch. A fastball that misses up high. So that brings the count even. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Ethan Paul. Paul, the man out of Vanderbilt, the all-star, dare we say, Paul Star. No stranger to doing well on the big stage. We had a regional in Washington. He's from there and was able to play at home as he hits the pitch foul down the first base line. 2-2 remains the count. Paul, a returning player with these Orleans Firebirds, hit .252 with a .346 on-base percentage and 3 homers last summer. Quite a few returners on this Orleans team for Kelly Nicholson. 2-2 the count. Whitecaps trailing 4-2 here, bottom 7. Here comes the pitch from the right-hander. Breaking ball in there, called strike 3. A delayed call from Robert Aquino, but when he makes it, it's a good one for Joe Demers. Just dropped that breaking ball in. It was right at the letters when it crossed the plane of home plate. So Ethan Paul strikes out for the 2nd time against Joe Demers tonight, and there are 2 gone in the bottom of the 7th.
Joe Demers has looked really sharp so far. That's his 4th K of his outing into his 3rd inning of work. You see guys, especially middle relievers, guys who typically only throw 1 or 2 innings, kind of start to die off, or their stuff kind of runs out of gas this late into an outing. But Demers still working strong, and I think part of that is the fact that he didn't have a week off. Typically you see guys maybe have a little bit of rust, but I think the extra rest probably helped them here.
Yeah, that really has been all year Demers' MO. He's just a guy who comes in and can give you some innings, and when he's working well, when his stuff is going, he can strike out a bunch of guys. He's holding the set now as Jax Groshans digs in. The pitch to the right-handed hitter is outside on the fastball. Took Gasper out of his crouch as he slid over to glove the baseball. 1-0 is the count. So far for Groshans, he is 2 for 3. Had a pair of singles, the first in the first inning and then another one in the 3rd. Hit a pop fly his last time up against Demers in the 5th inning. Orleans ahead 4-2, bottom 7. Runner aboard second base. Here with 2 men out. Here comes the pitch to the righty. In there for a called strike on the outer edge. Another well-placed fastball from Joe Demers. I think we've seen a lot of well-placed fastballs tonight. Saw a few from Chandler Day, the starter for Orleans, who went 3+. Didn't quite have his best stuff in terms of locating his other pitches. 1-1 is the count. Here comes the pitch from the righty. Breaking ball misses down and away to make the count 2-1. Demers really is a guy who, when he changes speeds, you don't need a radar gun in your pocket. You don't need to be eavesdropping on the scout section to see the difference between that looping curveball that he just threw and the fastball. And now, of course, as Gasper goes out to have a quick chat with Demers, it's a spot where Groshans is kind of guessing as to what pitch he's going to see next. An important spot here in this ball game. Nico Decolati, who has shown his speed earlier in this game with a stolen base, is aboard at second base in scoring position. And for Brewster, the offense just hasn't quite been able to find its rhythm in this ball game. They have put 2 runs across. They're just, as I was saying before, a bloop and a blast away from tying the game up. But you get the feeling Demers really has to keep the Firebirds right where they're at, as Demers will step off again, perhaps kind of recognizing the importance of this pitch. 2-1 is the count on the righty hitting Jack Groshans. And here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss. Took a big rip at that off-speed pitch. Looked like he was golfing a little bit as that one dove down below the zone. And 2-2 is the count on Groshans. And now for Demers, you wonder if this means he's going to wind up the fastball here. Demers staring in. Gasper getting back into his crouch as Groshans was taking some time. Now is ready and now calls for some more time. And we'll wait a bit as Robert Aquino takes control of the ball game. Now we have the single for play ball. 2-2 is the count. Here comes the pitch. It's fouled away on a check swing. That one looked like it was more in self-defense than anything else. It was a fastball high and tight, and a little bit of a semi-check swing from Groshans. Put the bat almost in front of his face and deflected it over toward the Orleans dugout on the first base side. So a strange offering, but doesn't change anything in terms of a count. Still 2-2 with a runner on second and 2 men out in a 2-run game. Waiting on a 2-2 pitch from Joe Demers. Here it comes. Hit high in the air, foul ground right side. It will get out of play. That was a fastball. It looked like that was knocked away by Groshans. A big spot here for Jax, part of a great baseball family. His brother was a high school All-American, or will be. He was named to this year's team for the Under Armour All-American game this summer. 2-2 is the count. And here comes the pitch from Demers. Hit on the ground sharply towards shortstop. Graffinino will scoop it up off a tricky hop and throw across in time for the out at first base. So Demers wins the battle, gets the ground ball, and after giving up the leadoff bunt single, does not allow any further damage. No runs, a hit, and 1 left in the 7th inning for Orleans. At the end of 7, it's 4-2 Firebirds. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Waddell and Aiden Doyle. Welcome back to Eldridge Park. We're starting the 8th inning. And Gasper, Curry, and Nick Dunn will be due up for Brewster with 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Whitecaps trailing the Orleans Firebirds 4-2 on this clear and chilly night. Gasper, the switch hitter, hitting from the left side, and Jake Wong deals. It's in there for a strike on the inside corner on an opening fastball to the Whitecaps catcher today. 0-1 is the count. Wong working quickly, ready to deal 0-1. Here comes the pitch. It's hit high in the air out to left field. Moving back as the left fielder Riley is back toward the wall. It looks like he's underneath it, and he makes the catch. Second time we've seen Riley get tested out there over that by that short porch in left field, and Mickey Gasper able to give him a ride. But it winds up just an out in the scorebook. In fact, that's the second straight hitter. Chandler Taylor put one the opposite way out there. But Brewster, as of yet, have not been able to clear the fence, something Roman Gonzalez did for Orleans earlier in this ball game. That's out number 1 in the top of the 8th. Now it's Michael Curry's turn. Here comes the pitch to the righty hitter. Did miss is low. And the count is 1-0 on the Georgia Bulldog. For Curry, a pretty interesting line in the scorebook. 3 pop flies, 1 behind the plate, 1 to second, and 1 to short. Here comes the 1-0 pitch from Jake Wong. It's hit high in the air, foul ground right side. That one really got some lift to it as it was sent out toward right field, but heads out of play. 1-1 the count. Curry is a hitter that you would think would be pretty well suited to this particular ballpark. A righty hitter with some pop. Could possibly take advantage of that short porch. The pitch is in there for a strike. A fastball makes the count 1-2. Orleans ahead 4-2 on top of the Brewster Whitecaps. Orleans looking to keep on rolling. They are the cream of the crop in the East Division right now at 17-10. Brewster trying to stay above 500. They're 14-13-1 at the moment. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. It's a check swing on the ball in the dirt. They checked the first base, and he did not go, so says Ronaldo Cockrum. So now the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes on Michael Curry. I mentioned Jake Wong does have a couple of outings against Brewster. First was on opening night. He pitched a scoreless frame, and then the last one was back on July 3rd. He did the exact same thing. And the pitch misses outside by just a touch to make the count 3 balls and 2 strikes on Michael Curry. Staring in is Jake Wong. Here comes the payoff pitch. Hit high in the air to center field. Moving back is the center fielder Harrington to his left. He's under it and he makes the catch. So another fly ball that tests the outfield, but that time there was more room in center. A nice piece of hitting from Curry, but he's now 0 for his last 6 going back to yesterday's game, and that is out number 2 of the 8th.
Yeah, the first 3 at-bats for Curry just kind of got jammed a little bit. I know that's how you described it, Carter. Popped him up there, got one on the outer part of the zone, and drove it out to right center field. But here at Eldridge Park, such a big ballpark, especially out in the center field area, that Heron was able to run it down. Really got a good piece of that one, though.
Here comes Nick Dunn. The pitch to the lefty is up high on a fastball. It really is kind of a strange ballpark to get used to because it's one that makes you hold your breath when it goes out to left field, but if it's driven out to center, then it's great news for the pitcher, so you kind of have to adjust that way. The pitch to the lefty, Nick Dunn, is in there for a strike on the inside corner. That one diving down toward the knees out of the hand of Jake Wong. Makes the count 1 ball and 1 strike on Nick Dunn. And the 1-1 pitch misses down and in to make the count 2 balls and 1 strike. There is some action in the Whitecaps bullpen as a righty is warming up. Here comes a 2-1 offering. It's hit on the ground, foul left side. And the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes on Nick Dunn. Dunn so far today, a ground ball out, an infield single, and then a ground ball to first base. So he is 1 for 2 with that infield single. He scored Brewster's first run. That was on a ribby single from Julian Infante. Brewster's only 2 runs of this game came in the 4th. They trail 4-2. The pitch is a ground ball, a high chopper through the middle, moving over to his right to field. It is the shortstop and makes the play. A nice throw over there by Gonzalez, who has flashed the leather so far today. We've seen some terrific infield defense all around from Orleans in this ball game. And the Whitecaps go down 1-2-3. Looks like Orleans pitching has retired 11 straight Brewster hitters, combined between Brooks Wilson and Jake Wong. And at the end of 7.5 innings of play, it's 4-2 Orleans over the Whitecaps. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Who is it?
Stephen Jones.
We're back at Eldridge Park. We're starting the bottom of the 8th inning between the Whitecaps and the Firebirds, and there's a new hurler to tell you about for Brewster. Making his Whitecaps debut is Stephen Jones, the man out of Samford University, a right-hander at 6'5" and 220. We're keeping the tall hurlers on the mound. He faces Riley, Passatempo, and Hale, the bottom third of this order for Orleans, and the first pitch misses for ball 1 to Brandon Riley. Jones, as we mentioned, making his debut, was activated a few days ago. 1-0 pitches it high in the air down the left field line. Moving over is the third baseman, Datris, and he makes the catch. Almost ran out of room in foul territory, but he charged over and made the grab beyond the Whitecaps dugout on the third base side. So that is out number 1 of the bottom of the 8th inning. And we've got a pinch hitter to tell you about. It looks like it's going to be Steven Scott coming in to pinch hit for Passatempo in the 8th spot, the DH spot, as they're bringing in a lefty to face the righty Stephen Jones. Jones was brought in, and I remember when we were talking to Coach Shevchik about this a few days back after J.R. McDermott's last start with the Whitecaps, to kind of alleviate the gap in Brewster's starting rotation, which is why it's interesting that he's being brought in at first here in a relief appearance. The first pitch is low and gets behind Gasper into the backstop. Jones replaces Demers, who was excellent. 3 innings pitched for him, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts. And again, it is Steven Scott digging in out of Vanderbilt. The pitch is hit high in the air, foul ground, left side out of play. So it makes the count 1-1 on Scott. Scott, so far this season, hitting .313. This is the 22nd game that he's found action, usually regular player with this club. .389 on base percentage. He's got 4 homers and 20 runs driven in. Had a day off tonight, but now being brought in a pinch hitting role, hitting for the DH. 4-2, Orleans ahead in this ball game. The pitch is hit high in the air, foul ground, again out of play on the left side. So the count 1-2 on Steven Scott. The Samford University Bulldog, Stephen Jones, had a .527 ERA this past spring for Samford. That's in Birmingham. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, he got him. A nice slider that dropped off the table out of the hand of Stephen Jones. So 2 up and 2 down in his Whitecaps debut here.
Yeah, and Jones is a guy who can pick up the Ks. He struck out 44 this year in 56 1/3, but control has been his issue. He walked 37 in those appearances and also threw 11 wild pitches, which was the #1 spot, not in a good way, on the Samford baseball team.
So that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Austin Hale, but Austin Hale will not come in to the plate. It's going to be Kevin Stroshine, another pinch hitter for these Firebirds. Stroshine digging in from the right side, and the pitch is fouled back to the screen. Stroshine, another regular player that was not on Kelly Nicholson's lineup card to start the ball game. For him this season, he's hitting .224, 270 OBP, no homers, and 7 runs driven in. It's righty to righty, 0-1 pitch. Misses inside. And so the count evens up, 1 ball and 1 strike. So Stroshine comes in for Hale. So we should anticipate that Nicholson will bring in a new catcher next inning. 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss. Blew the fastball by him. And the count is 1-2. So far, the stuff is looking just fine for Stephen Jones in his first outing as a Whitecap. He stares in, working quickly. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Hit high in the air to right field. Chandler Taylor moving to his left. He's playable for him, and he makes the catch, charging up a bit. And he makes the grab on the run, and that retires the side. So Jones comes in, gets a pop fly, a strikeout, and a fly ball to right. A 1-2-3, bottom of the 8th inning, and he gets a nice handshake with Tony Losi, who's the first to meet him out by the dugout for the Brewster Whitecaps. 1-2-3 go the Firebirds in the bottom of the 8th. At the end of 8, it's 4-2 Orleans. The Whitecaps trying to rally here in their final 3 outs in the 9th. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Welcome back to Eldridge Park. Brewster on their last legs. The score 4-2 in favor of Orleans. As we enter the top of the ninth inning, I want to remind you that the Beach House Grill at Chatham Bar Zim Resort and Spa is the perfect spot for a seaside lunch or evening clam bake, a proud member of leading hotels of the world. For Brewster in the ninth inning to try and come back from this 4-2 deficit, it will be Datris, Bishop, and Infante, and they will be doing it against Orleans' closer, Josh Hyatt, the righty out of the University of North Carolina. So we're going to have an all-Tar Heel matchup to start off this ninth inning. So far for Hyatt in the closer role for Orleans, this is his 11th appearance, which is now most on the team. A 2.08 ERA, 13 innings pitched, only 5 hits allowed. He's walked 6 and struck out 13. He's collected 5 saves so far this season. And so Hyatt is ready to go. As I mentioned, Datris, Bishop, and Infante, those are the 6, 7, and 8 hitters in Brewster's lineup. And so far, Datris has a couple of walks to his credit today, which is just what Brewster would need here to try and get a leadoff runner on. I've been saying it before, they're a bloop and a blast away, and they got a few guys coming up. Remember, Costas is going to be there if anybody gets on, who have the ability to take the ball out of the ballpark. They just have to set the table for him. So again, it's 4-2 Orleans. We're in the ninth inning. Brewster trying to get a come-from-behind win. They fell behind 4-0 after 3. Put a couple of runs across in the fourth inning, and that's where we've been. Here comes the pitch to the righty, Datris. And it's grooved in there for a strike. On the inside corner, you wonder what advantage Datris might have going up against his Tar Heel teammate here. Here comes the 0-1 from the right-hander, and it skips in front of the catcher low. We do have some defensive replacements to let you know about. Looks like Groshans has moved behind the plate for the Orleans Firebirds, and Jeff Hopi is the shortstop now. So those are the new defensive changes for Orleans. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. It misses down and in to Datris to make the count 2-1. Romy Gonzalez has moved from shortstop to third base to take Groshans' spot. And here comes the pitch to the right-hander. It's grounded foul. Just got a piece and doinked it behind the plate up against that brick backstop right toward us, toward the third base line. And so the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And we're getting word from our very own Maura Sheridan that if the Whitecaps are able to rally and tie the game or take the lead here in the ninth, it'll be Sam Bordner coming in for the bottom of the ninth. He's warming up, throwing some soft tosses.
2-2 pitches hit high in the air, foul ground behind the plate. We'll do it again with the count 2-2. That's just the guy that Jamie Shevchik has said. I mean, he's been true to his word all year that Bordner is the guy that he wants in high leverage situations here. But of course, that's a big if for Brewster to try and get these couple of runs. Hunter Bishop is standing on deck for the Whitecaps. 2-2 the count on Kyle Datris, righty to righty. Hyatt takes a deep breath on the mound, shakes off one pitch, now gets the one he likes. Here comes the 2-2 offering. Breaking ball in there for a called third strike. Nice frame behind the plate from the catcher. Groshan just pulled that one across into the zone, and Datris goes down looking for out number 1 of the ninth.
Yeah, that was a nice job there by Groshan framing that pitch, and it certainly wasn't one that Kyle Datris liked there. And you've got to wonder for Groshan, obviously starting the game off at third base and then just moving behind the plate here in the ninth. To frame a pitch like that for the first batter that you see behind the plate, it's a nice transition.
He really looked like he had to reach out for that. Here's the lefty, Hunter Bishop. The pitch is hit high in the air. Right field. It's going to tail foul. That had the distance off the bat for Bishop. Made quite a loud thwack as it whacked against the lumber, but it tailed foul pretty quickly. Was never really fair to begin with, so that's a loud strike number 1, and quickly out goes Groshans to talk to Hyatt here.
That had the distance to get out of any park. I mean, Bishop just absolutely crushed that ball down the right field line, but again, a little bit out in front of it and just hooked it foul.
Bishop digging back in, the count 0-1. Bishop so far today 0 for 2 with a 4th inning walk. And here comes the pitch to the lefty. It misses outside. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike on Hunter Bishop. Hyatt replacing Jake Wong, who threw 2 perfect innings in relief. No strikeouts to his name. Here comes the 1-1. Swing and a foul tip into the glove of the catcher Groshans for strike number 2. Bishop just missed off with the timing there. 1-2 is the count on the ASU Sun Devil, who is being aggressive at the plate here. in this ninth inning at bat. It's 4-2 Orleans. We're in the top of the ninth here at Eldridge Park. Whitecaps trying to get a runner on. Nobody on and one out. Here comes the pitch to Hunter Bishop. It's hit hard on the ground, foul, right side. Again, Bishop just a bit ahead of that one, as that was another bullet. That one on the ground. That tailed foul from the get-go. So the count 1-2 strikes. On deck is Infante. Costas will be after him if the Whitecaps can get a runner on base. 1-2 the count. Josh Hyatt staring in, and now time is called by Bishop in the batter's box. So everybody's going to reset with the count 1-2 strikes. Brewster looking to get back on the winning track after the loss yesterday. Here comes the 1-2. A slow chopper toward the right side. Hyatt moves to his left and fields it himself and flips it over in time to first base for the out. Hyatt was kind of an acrobatic play as he was just cutting off his follow-through, stuck the glove hand out and made the play. So a ground ball out for Hunter Bishop, and there are 2 gone quickly in the ninth.
That was just a really athletic play there by Josh Hyatt. Just enough length on his left arm to reach that one. And then not only that, to be able to gather himself and compose himself, get his balance back, and be able to make the flip to first base. That's not easy, and he made it look easy.
So now it's up to Julian Infante. Whitecaps down to their last out of this ball game. Orleans ahead 4-2 here in the top of the ninth. Infante so far today, he has an RBI single to his name. That was in the fourth. It's bookended by a strikeout and a ground out. Brewster gave up 3 runs in the first inning. Only 2 of them by our count were earned. Then fell behind 4-0 on a solo shot from Roby Gonzalez. Got 2 back in the top of the fourth, and that's where we stand. Here comes the first pitch to the righty, Infante. It misses low to make the count 1-0. Again, Marty Costas standing on deck for Brewster. Put him a lineup today because of his pop, so said Jamie Shevchik. And the count is 1-0 on the man from Vandy. Hyatt kicks and deals. It misses low for ball number 2. Infante, you know, he's never a guy who's going to get rattled. He's one of those players where no matter what situation he's in, whether it's a tense spot like this in the ninth inning or just your average at-bat, never lets the score dictate the way that he carries himself. 2-0 pitch, misses down and in, brings the count 3-0. So Infante's patience paying off here against Hyatt. 3-0 is the count. You have to think there's going to be no green light here. A walk would be just what the doctor ordered for Brewster. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. It's grooved in there for a strike on a fastball. It looked like Infante was taken all the way on that pitch. And the count is 3-1 as Hyatt will ready to go. The rising junior out of Providence High School in Charlotte, North Carolina. The UNC Tar Heel is ready. And here comes the 3-1 pitch. Fastball in there for a called strike at the knees. Infante was bending down to take off his guard. He'd already deposited his bat. Clearly not a fan of the call behind the plate from Robert Aquina. And the count is full with 2 men out. Whitecaps down to their last strike in this game. It's 4-2 in favor of the Firebirds. We're on the top of inning number 9. And Infante kind of taking a second to reset. I'm sure in his mind he was thinking he did his job and got on base. But he'll have to dig back in. 3-2 is the count on Julian Infante. Josh Hyatt shakes off a sign. Now gets the one he likes. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him, and the ball game is over. He fooled him with a slider, and that ends the game. Julian Infante with a big swing and miss, and Orleans continues their hot play. They win this ball game 4-2. Marty Costas left in the on-deck circle at the end of this game. The Whitecaps go down in order. 1-2-3 in the ninth. Josh Hyatt gets a strikeout, a ground ball, and another K. Just what you want out of your closer if you're Kelly Nicholson. Orleans now 18-10 on the season, and Brewster is back down to 500, 14-14-1. Another tough loss for the Whitecaps today, Aiden.
Yeah, and the big problem here, the offense. Again, 14 guys retired in a row to end this ball game for the Whitecaps. Their last base runner came with 1 out in the 5th inning when Mickey Gasper singled right back up the middle. It seemed like it was an eternity ago, and then Orleans pitching set down the next 14 batters in a row. You're not going to win a ball game and you have 4 hits and can't manage a base runner in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. That's just, it's just not going to happen. Ryan Avadano obviously didn't get off to a great start, allowing 3 runs in the first inning, But then the rest of the pitching staff, especially Joe Demers and Stephen Jones, settled in nicely. And it was a good performance today by the Brewster bullpen. And it seemed like that bullpen certainly gave this offense a chance to climb back into this game, which they didn't. For me, biggest play in the game, the double play off of Graffinito's bat to end the 4th inning. Brewster had already scored 2 runs in the inning. They had runners at first and third, and Graffinito just hit an absolute rocket to first base. It's not Graffinito's fault or anything like that. It's just a nice play by Nootbaar. But if that gets past him, you're looking at least 1, potentially 2 runs scoring there. And if it's 2 score, it's a tie game. But just something like that is a huge momentum killer for Brewster after they started to get some back. And it was all Orleans from there.
Yeah, it really seems like that the Orleans Firebirds put on a clinic defensively in the infield. Nootbaar had a couple nice backhanded picks at first. We saw great defense from Groshans, both at third base and then when he moved behind the plate, framing that key pitch on the strikeout to Kyle Datris. Obviously, this was a tough one for the pill for Brewster to swallow, but we've got a lot more in store for you here tonight. On the postgame show, Jamie Shevchik will give his take on how things are going. Maura Sheridan will catch up with one of the Whitecaps players. We'll give you all the totals and look ahead to tomorrow's game. We are on TV tomorrow as the Whitecaps head back home to play the Harwich Mariners at Stony Brook Field. Game starting at 5 o'clock. You can watch it on Lower Cape TV. And right here on the YouTube stream, we should have the live pictures going if all goes well tomorrow. But we've got a lot more coming up tonight. Don't you touch that dial. The final score here in this ball game, it's 4-2. The Firebirds win it here at Eldridge Park. We'll be back with the postgame show right after this. Don't go anywhere. The Whitecaps postgame show is coming up right after this.
That was huge for us. It's huge for the momentum going into tomorrow.
Only on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network. Back here at Eldridge Park for our postgame show. Once again, the final score, Orleans winners 4-2 in this ball game, despite an excellent performance from Joe Demers out of the pen. 3 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, no runs, no walks, and 4 Ks, and he is with Maura.
Well, you just heard Carter tell us your stats today. A good job for you individually on the mound. What was working for you today?
The fastball was coming out well, and then I was getting the curveball over, so that was huge. And I was just trying to fill up the zone today.
Your coach has called you and Paulie Milto kind of the workhorses of this bullpen. What does it mean to have that kind of praise from your head coach?
Yeah, me and Paulie are very similar. We just go in and pound the zone and let our defense work, and I think that's been huge for our bullpen, giving us some good rest.
2 losses in a row for you guys against division opponents. How do you bounce back from this?
We just got to keep our head down and keep going. We're playing good ball, and then things will start going our way.
All right, thanks so much, Joe.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Maura. Joe Demers with an excellent performance in this game. The final totals on this ball game, Orleans, 4 runs, 8 hits, no errors. They leave 7 on. For Brewster, 2 runs on 4 hits, 1 big error. They leave 6 men on. The winning pitcher is Brooks Wilson, who is now 1-0 on the season for Orleans. The losing pitcher is Avadano. For Brewster, he now drops to 1-1, and Josh Hyatt comes on and gets his 6th save of the year in relief for the Firebirds. And it's a tough question, I think, the last one that Maura asked to Joe Demers. How do you bounce back? I know, Aiden, you're talking about the key is the offense. I think we've kind of talked a lot about how much this offense needs to improve in getting the big hit. How do you think they do that?
I think it's all about composure up at the plate. It's just an understanding that putting the ball in play is more important than how far you hit it. And I think that's something that this team has stressed as far as the coaches. It's just a matter of putting words into action and actually having that deliver out on the field.
All right, speaking of coaches, Jamie Shevchik is with Maura.
Well, Coach, you mixed up the lineup today, put Marty Costas at the 9 spot, didn't put Darius Hill in. You said that was hopefully going to fix some of the offensive woes. It didn't seem to work today. What's your next move?
I don't know. Back to the drawing board. Tomorrow's a big game with Harwich, so we got to figure out if we're going righty or lefty tomorrow. And again, I think it's at this point trying to put the best lineup out there that's going to give us a chance to win. That was, in my opinion, in this ballpark the best offensive lineup we could have put out there today. So they just didn't hit. So we got to figure some things out.
Stephen Jones came in for the first time for this team. What did you see from him today?
Yeah, I liked him. He had some pretty good velocity. I think he's going to help us. It's a welcome addition, trying to save our bullpen a little bit. So I think he got here right in the right time. So he did it exactly what we need him to do, because if we had to burn another pitcher going into tomorrow, we'd be short in the bullpen.
Harwich is a team you guys have had a lot of success against this year. What are you expecting tomorrow? What's the hope in a game that's kind of a must-win for you guys?
It is a must-win, and especially with the day off the next day. So all hands on deck for tomorrow. Everybody's going to be able to pitch, and Harwich is a different team than we played a week ago. They've got a handful of guys that are in town that are playing really well. So they're a much better team than they were a few days ago or even last week. So again, yeah, at this point in the season, tomorrow's a must-win.
All right, thanks so much, Coach.
Okay, thank you, Maura. That's an interesting observation there from Jamie Shevchik. Obviously, Brewster coming off 3 straight wins against Harwich, but here on the Cape, everything is constantly changing. Every team is constantly moving up and down in terms of the way their lineup is constructed, and it's interesting to hear that from Coach Shev about the way the pitchers are going to be used. I mean, you have to think Robert Broom's going to pitch tomorrow. You have to think Sam Bordner's going to pitch tomorrow if he's saying all hands on deck in the bullpen and they want a must-win game.
Yeah, if the situation calls for it, I'm sure if the offense goes out and gives them, like a 10-0 lead or something like that, you'd probably preserve Broom and Bordner as much as I can. But then, if the situation calls for it, like he's used that phrase all year long, if it's a high-leverage situation, there is no guy in that bullpen they won't go to tomorrow. It's very rare in baseball you hear must-win when there's still double-digit games left on the schedule. But tomorrow, they've dropped 2 straight against division opponents, like Maura said, 1 to YD, 1 here at Orleans. Tomorrow, against the last-place Mariners, to lose a 3rd road game would be devastating, or 3rd divisional game against a team that's in last place would be devastating mentally to this team. To come out tomorrow with a win, then you go into an off day, you get rest, a win is on your mind, and you go into the final real stretch of this schedule in a positive note.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what Jamie Shevchik is thinking about the most. He's talked to us about how important off days are and making sure to get the win heading into them. Well, it's a very important game tomorrow, and it's one you should tune in and watch. We're going to have live pictures for you tomorrow, courtesy of our great friends at Lower Cape TV. That game, as per usual with home games at Stony Brook Field, will start up at 5 o'clock. We'll be on a little bit before then, maybe 4:45, and get you set, or 4:45, get you set up for that ball game. Again, live pictures. You can watch it on Lower Cape TV channel 99, or you can watch it right here where you are right now on YouTube. That'll do it for us tonight. For everybody with our crew, Morris Sheridan and Aiden Joyle, I'm Carter Woodeel. Again, the final score, Orleans gets the W 4-2. Whitecaps back in action tomorrow against Harwich. We'll see you then. Until then, have a great night.